Okay, now I'm not muted. Okay, well, let's get this party started, gamers. Welcome to Mental Health Magic. Today I'm joined by 4 lovely fellow musicians. If you guys don't know what this is, you're either new to my audience or you live under a rock. So, it's very simple. Mental Health Magic. We're trying to end stigma in the artist and VTuber community and hopefully for you at home. And what we're going to do is I have 3 prompts and it's going to be roundtable discussion about mental health. So we're just going to jump right in and we're going to introduce ourselves one at a time, starting with Mr. Eive here. No. You're Eive. You're Eive now. Oh my god, hold up. You were muted the whole time.
Oh, really?
Oh my god, I'm so sorry. Apparently my mouse double clicked on the thing. Okay.
Was everyone muted?
Bruh.
Yeah, everyone except for me. That's now we can hear. Now we can hear.
I take 3, lads.
Let's take 3s. The scuffing. Okay. You should
Let's
be able
go.
to
Start.
All right, Eve, go ahead. Let's
Can you hear me
refresh.
now?
The chat's gonna be delayed, so probably you're probably good.
All right. Nice. So my name is Tyson, also known as Eive, and I make Midwest emo. I like math rock, swancore, hardcore, and well, I make weave shit. So expect that kind of stuff from me. I like screamy people and screamy music.
Screaming
and all that.
people.
Yeah.
Screaming at people.
I like people screaming at me through my headphones. I enjoy it, but only if it's with distorted guitars. So yeah.
All right.
And yeah, that's me.
Mev, you're next.
Hey, hello, my name is Mev. I make metal music. It's okay. I also sometimes draw, also in okay drawing, and I'm full-time down bad on anime waifu.
I think that's why we're all here.
Alright.
To some extent,
Yeah.
right? Okay.
Yeah, I'm done.
And then Dangeon, you're next.
Bruh. Okay. So, I'm a composer and producer from Brazil, and I've been doing for some years already. I met Arkan and all these amazing friends right here through VTubers. So, and VTubers got a little influence on my music. Yeah, I also like weeb shit and so on. But sometimes my music isn't really about anime VTubers and stuff. Sometimes it is, and it's kind of messy. Yeah, I guess that's it.
Okay.
All right.
Azu, you're
Next
last.
up is me.
Yep.
Hello, I am Azuraga, Azuraga Setsu, or Azuraga Melody on YouTube. I need to streamline that really. I've been making music for like 5 years now already. 2018 was when I began, I think, and I like to do some like soundtrack, anime stuff, something like that. At least that was what I was usually doing. Honestly, I don't really know what exactly my genre is now. Just write things, produce things, and that's pretty much it.
Cool. So everyone's got this wide range of genre influences. We're all brought together
definitely.
by
Yeah.
VTuber sphere. Yeah, we
Yes.
got we
Yeah.
got metal, Midwest emo, drum and bass soundtrack. I do like, I don't know, Eurobeat one day and then Animal Crossing BGM the next day.
We have a large variety.
A lot of variety.
Yes.
Although it seems like everyone's been doing this for like some amount of time, and then like,
True.
do you guys feel like we all kind of like really kicked off because of COVID? Like we had, because that's what happened to me.
Yeah.
No clue actually.
COVID really brought me out of my shell musically.
Yeah. Same.
I have no clue.
Okay, so that's good to know, because if everyone's a bit different on that, then we got something to go with there. Okay.
I guess because I'm kind of growing when with Cali contest, I got a lot of the
Yeah, I honestly have not. When? I guess like just before COVID, I took off kind of with a cover on Shiny Smiley Story.
Mm.
Before that, there was just Attack on Titan soundtracks. So I guess those did well as well. In COVID, I'm not really sure if that really did anything positive for me. Not that it did negative things, but yeah, I guess things just stayed like it was for me. I guess.
Interesting.
Oh, I
In
see.
my case, it was specifically COVID because we had so much time now that we were in isolation. So in my case, I used to play the piano. So not to dox myself, there's a place to play the piano where I work at. So every time after work or after school, I used to go to play the piano there. And then
Ooh.
COVID just hits,
Mm-hmm.
and I decided, hey, what if I started making music? Because, well, I like playing the piano. What if I start making music now? And yeah, and it's kind of funny because my channel, it used to exist back then. It's been there since like I think 2016. But back then I was like a silver gunner wannabe, so I posted my
Yo!
Great.
yeah. Actually, some of them are unlisted, but I have them in a playlist. So if you wanna listen to the old stuff I used to make, the mashups, even though they're not like public uploads, I have them hidden somewhere in a playlist, so you can look them up. But yeah, I've always liked music. It's just
Yeah.
didn't have the push to make it, and
Yeah.
so in my case, it was like that final push that I needed. And then came VTubers, and that's where I was like, yeah, I like
Yeah,
this.
VTuber definitely did a large thing. That is definitely true.
Yeah.
If it weren't for VTubers, I probably wouldn't have even gotten close to the skill level and where I am now. That's for sure.
Whoa.
I don't. Well, yeah, I think I got complacent when I was making music around like 2019, 2020. But then like COVID VTuber scene hit, and then I was just like, I can do this. And then
Oh, nice.
and then
Nice.
everything's been a training arc from there, and like I don't know, I feel like after like at some point like 2022, I feel like I was like, this isn't bad. And honestly, I was talking to Jay about mixing like vocals and like mastered stuff last night, because I had a friend approach me and be like, Ark, you're the only guy I know that does like musical stuff. Yeah, a training arc, exactly like that. Exactly. And and then he told me like all the stuff I need to know about mixing, and I'm like, oh, so people just use big words. I've been doing everything correctly this whole time. That's crazy.
Wow.
Nice.
He's like, oh yeah, you slapped some compression on it, and like that's like the biggest thing. I was like, wow, I do that too, dude. And it's, like, Impostor Syndrome gone, easy. So here's what we're gonna do, fellas. I know you guys have had a good chance to look at our prompts. If you guys are in, if any of the chat is interested, Layla, however you want me to pronounce your name, I have it on YouTube, or not YouTube, I have it on Twitter, so you guys are welcome to respond to the prompts in chat, and we can look at them when we have a chance to. And I invited Project Epsilon, but he couldn't make it just because this is literally like 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning for him, and he's not good on stream just because of his environment. So he actually answered everything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read these, give his answer, and then we pop off, okay?
Right.
Sounds good.
Wow.
Good.
Okay, so the first topic we're looking at is, since this is mental health magic. Also, I'm going to give a quick disclaimer. Even though, like, mental health stuff is my full-time job, none of this is professional, obviously. Like, this isn't like ethical therapy or anything. This is mostly
True.
just for discussion purposes. So I should make that disclaimer right now.
Hurry.
Okay, the first one was, what is your current view of the mindsets and or mental health within the producer or artist sphere? I opened it up to artists because I know some of us have some experience on art too. So Epsilon said, disclaimer, my circle in this space is quite small, so it's quite skewed towards smaller creators, which I think most of us identify with at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of, yeah.
And okay, so the first thing he said is very relatable right off the bat. Generally burnt or burning out from making music and it not gaining any traction, or on the other end, it feels like you're just grinding because it's your job.
Yep.
So both sides of the story there. I like that. What do you guys think? I bet your opinion, his opinion, whatever.
About his
I would
opinion.
agree with him.
Ah, yeah, you go first. You go first.
No, you go first.
Oh, okay. Well, about the whole burning out thing, I think we don't talk about it enough because, especially on Twitter, we tend to express the best about us. So
Yep.
we post. We don't really post work in progress, especially as musicians. Maybe visual artists can post more work in progress because it's easier for them because so music is experienced through time, and visual art you can just look at it and be done with it. Maybe you can look at it for like 1 minute or two, but in general, with music, is a different way to experience art because it's experienced through time. So we don't
Yeah.
really post a lot of works in progress in on Twitter, and what we do post is the best we have to offer. So we already have that kind of bias because we post the best we can offer, and if the best we post doesn't get any traction, then what are we supposed to expect about what we know that that was the best I could post, and it didn't get any traction? So what am I supposed to do now? Because
Yeah.
well, I'm supposed to uh, how do I put this? Of course, we're not entitled to attention, but
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say that
Mhm.
There we
deep
go.
down I feel that after all that hard work and
Yeah.
all the effort that went into it, I at least deserve something. But
I guess it's like
yeah,
a common
yeah,
thing to feel, right? It's just like
yeah,
I put this much effort in it. Um,
yeah,
why did it not pay off? Maybe did I do something wrong or something, or it doesn't sound good to others? I guess that's like a normal thing to feel, also just for self-evaluation. Like, how do I then um, progress in the future with future progress? So, what learning points can I get from this? I guess um, uptime or downtime, or how you may call it. So I guess,
right,
yeah, indeed, it's like natural to feel, um, I guess, a bit down when it doesn't do that well, and I guess it has also just to do with like how you are approaching producing, right? Do you want to like make to get famous, to put it bluntly, I guess,
yeah,
or is it just for yourself, or just like you don't care a little bit? I guess that kind of really has some kind of, I, I guess, influence.
yeah, yeah.
But it's definitely like a common feeling, I guess, across anything that you do. I guess like you want to, I guess, please people, or um, I guess you want the same feeling that you are feeling with your work to also reach your listeners. So yeah, I guess it's like um, it's natural, but it's also something that you, I guess, have to look out for because it can get quite unhealthy just to just grind just for the pleasing of the public, I guess, and not
Yeah.
thinking about, okay, but what do I think of it? What do do I really myself like what I did instead of what does the public like. I guess it's like a good balance between those two things is definitely important. I
Right.
think.
No, that's what Layla was saying in chat. She's people are realizing how toxic hustle culture is, but we can also recognize we still fall into our traps due to just the nature of trying to get our work in front of the most people. I think, are you guys noticing like the common like denominator here is like words like traction, views, like who is paying attention. Yeah, so it's interesting because like to me, I almost wonder like I think it really does depend on like what your end game is, like what as you were saying, like for example, now this is anecdotal, but like I literally made a vent piece last year, and that was just like I need to channel these thoughts into the most productive, fun way I can. And of course, like the only people who've seen it are like super close to me. Like obviously, it didn't take off like something like Fauna Sweep did. For reference, there's a huge difference between those two projects. But for me, it was like that's not the vent piece. Wasn't like I didn't really care about a ton of people seeing it. It would have been cool, but it was sort of like, no, this one's for me, and I'm totally happy with it.
Yeah.
But if you're making like, I'm gonna make the hottest future-based track of the summer that's gonna make people their souls leave their body, and I'm gonna and I'm gonna play at I don't know Omega Lollapalooza or something. And I'm next to Porter Robinson. Then that's a little different. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's also expectations, right? Like being real. What do you want to compare yourself with? If you're just a beginner, of course, you want to be like the best. But of course, it takes time to get there, and it is important to like acknowledge that in the beginning you most likely will not pop off that well, and your music won't get that much views or traction even. But that's just part of the game, I guess. It takes time, and it takes also luck. And I guess it's also hard to like switch that mindset, right? From I want to do it for myself versus I want to do it for my fans, for instance. I guess at some points in my projects, I also felt that way, I guess. Because I initially started to like making music because I like it, and I still do, but sometimes you have those projects where it's like, in the beginning, like with the working projects or something, you get quite a lot of traction, and you think like, oh, this is actually, maybe this will pop off, maybe this will be something that people actually like, and then you upload the full version, and it suddenly goes down, and no one listens to it. So I guess, yeah, that's hard, and I guess it's natural, but yeah, I guess the gist of it is to I guess put it cynically, don't expect anything, but I guess
I think you should be open.
How do you say it?
Open to what could come out of it anyway.
Yeah. Open to failure maybe as well. Like expect that okay, there is a chance that it might not work out as expected, but that's okay. Something like that, maybe.
Yeah.
I think
so
one time the one where I made the thing for my own enjoyment, and then I uploaded, and people actually, I got attraction like a week, got 2K views, and I was like, yeah, this is popping. It was the Cali what's the first song?
The Rip remix. The first one.
Yeah, the Rip remix.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first one. Yeah, it was popping off, and I thought, man, I'm popping off. I can win. I make good music, and then like didn't even make the top 15 or whatever. Don't be depressed as fuck.
Yeah, that's also like a thing, right? The difference between publishing covers versus original tracks. Like the covers have like, for instance, we take like the Rip remix. Everyone knows the original already, so, and the remix was actually a contest, so of course you will get more traction for those. And maybe that one like popped off, you got some subs and stuff, but I guess it gets kind of hard, and it takes some time to develop a brand, I guess, for your original works. So yeah,
Yeah,
that will
and now
definitely
that you
take.
mention it, yeah, covers are perfect for getting your name out there because
Hmm.
initially, and it sounds harsh, but it's the truth. People don't really care about your music, and people don't really care about who you are. But
Definitely,
you put
definitely.
something out. You put something out that they like.
I
For
mean,
example,
Hmm.
in our cases, maybe the RIP remix, or maybe
Yeah, or like the
the
VTuber
viral
covers, right?
tones. Yeah, but yeah, initially people don't care about you, and
Hmm.
but slowly but surely you begin to attract people.
Yeah,
You people don't like your music now because it's a cover of a song they like. Now they like the music because you're the one covering it, and
yeah,
maybe at some point they're just gonna be like, "Hey, I really like your covers. You should really give it a shot. Give original music a shot because you have
yeah,
the potential to make original music." And it all started with getting your name out there
yeah.
using covers. So
Hmm.
yeah, it's a double-edged sword because I
Yeah,
see a lot of
definitely.
people getting stuck in the cover scene. Like for
Hmm.
example, we have in the metalcore scene, the cover band, the one and only Our Last Night. Maybe some know it, maybe some don't, but they have a lot of covers of popular music, and that's pretty much what they're known for. They have two original records, and in my opinion, those records are absolutely great and a thousand times better than the covers they put out.
Yeah.
But they stick to the cover stick because that's what gets them numbers, and I respect that.
Hmm.
Yeah, I respect the hustle, but they have the potential to make
Yeah.
a lot of original music, but in the end, to get new eyes onto you, you need to latch onto something. You need to ride
Hmm.
on the shoulders of giants. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's how we all start out, and
Yep.
yeah, that's how it is.
Yes,
Yeah,
maybe also
so
like finding a balance between the two things, right? Just
Yeah,
maybe start with like uploading a lot of covers and then slowly maybe insert some original tracks as well, maybe.
right.
And of course, it's not a crime to just make original songs, but in the
Ah,
beginning,
yeah,
they
of
most
course.
likely will not do that well compared to covers. But of course, if you want to if you want to release originals, feel free to do
Right.
so. It's all
Yeah,
just
sure.
also part of the learning, right? The more you make, the better you get eventually.
Yeah, and actually, yeah. Now that you mention it, uh, what I was saying, I was strictly approaching it from a business perspective because,
Hmm.
like you said, if you want to make music that you like and you want to make music, original
Yeah.
music from day zero, then you go and make music, original music from day zero,
Hmm.
because that's what fulfills you. And I really respect people that do that because
Yeah.
I think we, especially in the VTuber scene and in the YouTube music scene, there's just so many numbers to compare
Yeah.
our own work to the
Maybe
to other person's works. For
starting to get
example,
saturated as well, right?
yeah.
yeah.
Now
No.
that I think Mev
Tell me
mentioned
about it.
that one of his works, the RIP remix, got like 2K in the first week, and then when he uploaded something else, it didn't really do anything. Well, it got views, but not as many views as the
Hmm.
RIP remix. And one of the things that I noticed when he said that is that even YouTube as a platform is it's very toxic towards its creators because the first thing you see when you open YouTube Studio is your latest video and the
Ah.
ratings of that latest video.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
and
A
you're like,
well known.
why did this one? Why is this one like 5 out of 10 when I put so much work into it? And the
Yeah,
previous one
that
that was like a shit post, it is the 1 out of 10.
the
So
numbers, Mason.
It's
yeah,
always the shit post.
yeah,
What
It's
do they
always the
mean?
shit post.
numbers. No,
So
Yeah.
I
Every
want
time
to
we
talk.
get to the point of discussing YouTube Studio, this is the first thing people say.
yeah,
Yep. I'm.
So I want to give a little bit of my thoughts. I noticed I haven't spoken much actually.
That's all right.
So uh, you guys were talking about a lot of stuff. Now I was thinking about some specific thoughts. I was having about so you're talking about releasing covers versus releasing originals,
Hmm.
and I was thinking releasing the cover, yeah, we will get people's attention. It's something they already know, but oh, it's under a new light, under a new perspective.
Mm. Fresh air.
People, yeah, and in the cover and remix, you got just the right amount of familiarity and something new, originality. So
Right.
people often there's this magic formula to art that I hear a lot, that you gotta combine the right amount of originality, something new, and the right amount of something familiar. People want that uh, that precise area of something new, but not new enough that we will scare them.
Something
But
familiar.
yeah, yeah, but not, but also at the same time, not something like overplayed, something
Mm.
like ultra familiar that everyone is sick of seeing, right? So
Yeah.
if you think about it, like Disney remakes are
Right.
like giving a little bit of that, but then we compare. I was watching Spider Verse
Hmm.
yesterday,
Right. You're
and
telling us that.
Yeah.
like having this concept of Spider-Man that everyone already knows under this new exciting way, and the film was exciting. Let me tell you, uh, gets people very interested. It's something new, but they already know, and so on. And the thing with covers and originals, that's the thing. You gotta I think you gotta put your original style into covers, so you give that originality to, then people listen to it, and then they're gonna be like, oh, I like this shit,
Hmm.
and it's like very new, where can I get more of? But
Hmm.
it's your original
Yeah.
style, and then they gonna look your
Like a
original tracks.
signature, right?
Yes,
Like an
and then
art style.
resemble it. Yes, yes, the signature. So I very much believe in the need of uh, boldness, of artistic
Right. Yeah.
boldness and vision. You gotta be like,
Yep.
oh yeah, this is my sound, and it's very distinctive. Uh,
Hmm.
it, okay, uh, but again, you guys are also talking about the platform, and the platform is kind of interesting, right? You have those bunch of algorithms that distribute videos that have no titles. I don't know if you guys already got recommended this shit.
Yes,
Yeah.
It
very
There
has
much.
no
is
title, and you
15 views.
click on it.
The cult.
Yes, and at the same time, you like something you put a lot of work with, and so on, gets no views whatsoever. Even your subscribers won't get that video, and it's quite brutal. But
It's brutal. It's
it
also
does,
luck.
yeah, but
Yeah.
it does make sense when you really analyze it, and so on and so forth. So uh we are still on the first question, right? So
Here's
what is the
my
current view of mindset and so on?
mindset and
And
mental health. Yeah,
yes,
in general.
yes, and giving all of this scenario, like there's also a flip side to what I just said right now. What if your signature sound has no demand for it? Like
Hmm.
what if people don't actually want to listen to it? That's quite a terrifying thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I
So
guess eventually there maybe are some people who like your niche. Maybe become
yes,
like an
yes,
underground, like
Right. Yeah.
specific type of music that attracts a specific type of people.
yes,
So I
yes,
guess it's not really that bad if your signature does not really
yeah, yeah. It can
attract
be
the popularity or something.
yeah, the general public,
Yeah,
the non-niche
the
public.
trend.
Yes, yeah.
Right.
Because and it's interesting to see like people who do pop covers and do very much a pop sound, but don't really get like popular. It's kind of paradoxic. Oh fuck English. It's a paradox.
Paradoxical, yeah.
Paradoxical.
Yeah, I got you.
Paradoxical.
I got you.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of hard indeed to like maybe even do the pop style, because there's also like a lot of other things that come into getting popular via pop music,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
record
yeah.
labels and stuff, and
Yeah,
promotion on
that-
like a whole new level.
yeah.
So
It
I
does-
guess that also
yeah.
plays.
It does help on the mental health. Okay, so let's get back to the mental health. It does help a little bit.
Quickly.
It does help a little bit when you understand a little bit the market and how it works.
Yeah.
Because if you do not succeed, the fault isn't 100% on you. Of course, you can improve and should absolutely improve, but it's not absolutely your fault if you didn't succeed. There are all the factors
Well,
coming
yeah.
in and so
There are like a
on.
million factors, and
Yes.
And
Don't blame
one of them is
yourself
luck.
too hard. Yes,
So-
yes,
Yeah,
luck. Yeah, don't blame yourself too hard.
very important
Yeah,
one.
we were talking like Modi Carlisle remixes, right?
Yeah.
Modi Carlisle herself was sort of on this mindset. Oh, it's all my merit. We live in a meritocracy. That I can make it to everyone can make it, right? And I'm not get into liberalism and capitalism and
No, so
no
we don't need to go
choices
there.
and-
No
I
Chomsky,
knew it.
okay.
I knew it.
Oh god, no.
Inevitably.
Let's not get into that, but there's a lot of factors, and my conclusion is don't blame yourself too hard. There are a lot of factors,
Very good
and
advice.
artists that get very very big also had very very big sacks of money behind it
Yeah.
because record labels and stuff. But
And there's also a lot of time where they were absolutely no one.
yeah.
You look them up on Wikipedia and their parents' names are blue, so you know something's up.
Oh my god!
Oh no.
Well, so
Yeah.
Well, not everyone, but
I think, I'm trying to look at the flip side of that, right? Because I know some people who, like, really popped off because of their connections. Like, they, like, befriended the right person, or maybe, like, their parents are really good.
Yeah.
And, like, at some point, it can't be about that fully, because, like, that person, like, trusted you, that person chose you to do X thing, right? Like, I look at, like, other producers, like, that are, like, in the sphere, but have been doing this either for way longer, or are way bigger than us, and have, like, consistent, like, crazy beautiful soundtracks, and they still experience this imposter syndrome. They're still like, well, I'm not good enough, I'm not doing
it's
this.
inevitable.
Oh.
It is.
Like
Yeah.
a downside of the instinct of like social creatures, I guess. You're constantly comparing yourself to others
Yeah.
because that's how it always is, and it's not like it's not bad to do that, but it can get very unhealthy if you don't watch out.
Yeah.
It will always
Yeah,
come
yeah.
back, but yeah, you need to like definitely learn to see when it is really, I guess, overthinking maybe.
Mm.
Oh my god, Hans Zimmer's probably like, well, I'm not John. True! Yeah, it's kind of like
John
that.
Mozart.
It's kind of like that, right? So, like, at some point, someone's like, well, like, I can't be on Ark's level, which would blow my mind if someone said that. Or, someone's like, I can't make metalcore like Eive or Mev. I can't do, like, soundscapes like Azu, and I can't make, unique beats or drum and bass like Dangeon can. So that, to me, that's kind of, like, at some point, that's like we're gonna be at that step higher, and we're still gonna be looking up instead of down. So when I look at people like that who are like, I'm only
You always
here,
want to get better, and like
yeah,
you compare
Yeah.
to those you think are better than you.
Right, which I'm going to get into
Yeah.
in a second, which is going to not lead into another question, but it's going to lead to an interesting one on the topic of comparisons, because that's one that gets to me personally a lot. But I think about, like, you know, people are like, oh, I should have been, you know, like, I'm so lucky I knew these people. Like, and there is truth to that, and at the same time, you can kind of
it's not bad
validate it.
to like do some networking or something. Networking is like
Yeah,
a
but
good
you
trait.
you network with people for good reason, right? Like if
Yeah,
someone
yeah, exactly.
like Angel Steps, good friend of mine, really great ASMR VTuber. She's been around since 2020. You know, she didn't have to choose me to do her BGM, but she keeps going back to me because like she knows me and she trusts me. And like, yeah, you could say like, oh,
Yeah.
you know, that's that network, that's that connection. But if I wasn't good and I wasn't putting out stuff she liked, then she wouldn't go to me in the
Right.
first place to make that
Yeah.
connection. Which has happened. Like I've like done commissions for people, and they just don't commission me anymore because they go to someone bigger and more established than me. Which, you know, feels kind of bad. Not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. Like I get, I'm like, damn, that's a little salt on the wound. But it's like they are within their rights to do that, and the people that
Yeah,
keep coming to
it's
me,
like-
it's like awesome, cool. Makes
Not
me feel
everyone
real
likes
good.
the stuff you put out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, it all happens at different levels, and I like the idea of, like, don't be so hard on yourself. So here's the question. Here's the therapist in me, okay?
Oh.
Here's-
oh.
Well,
Exposing.
it's exposing everybody. Like, I always say, half the time I'm talking, like, to clients in my day job, I'm like, yo, he's just like me for real, sometimes.
Oh, no.
It's true.
That's
No.
Yo.
What therapists do.
But it's basically, so I always ask, like, little kids, for example, they'll be like, oh, Mr. Ark, like, I punched somebody and I got in trouble and I'm mad. And it's like, okay, so you know what to do next time? Yeah, don't punch them. I can count to 10 instead. And then the next time, they'll be like, oh, I got mad, but I didn't get in trouble. And I say, cool, how did you remember to do that? Because everyone knows what the correct answer is. Everyone knows, like, oh, you know, don't be so hard on yourself, right? Like, and it's like, great, how do you do that?
Oh,
That's my
yeah, those
that's my
practice.
therapist question.
How do you remember
Oh.
the advice?
How do you take your own advice?
I think in my case, I remember that advice because as a creator, I usually am on the receiving end of, well, people don't really listen to me, and I know I don't have to be so hard on myself, but still, people don't really listen to me. But then when I'm on the as a consumer of music, I have so many bands on my playlist that are like 20 listeners on Spotify, or hell, I have one that's like, I don't even think I think it's 13. I think it's 13 monthly listeners on Spotify, and I love the band, but
Mm-hmm.
they're just so small. And then I remember, okay, maybe I uh, I evoke something in someone else that these small bands evoke in me. So maybe I'm not the biggest
The
band.
circle
I'm
of
not
life.
the most influential, the most influential band in the scene. But I made something that made someone feel something, and maybe it doesn't have 10K views, it doesn't even have 1,000 views, but it's okay because 13 people listened to it and 13 people liked it, and I know that because I usually, as a listener, have like well, many bands that don't have even 100 listeners on Spotify or 1,000 views on YouTube, and I love them because they make me feel something. So I take solace in the fact that maybe it's the same for me. Maybe I'm not the biggest one, and I maybe in the next 2 years I'm not gonna be as big as them, but that's okay because the people that follow me and the people that like my music like it for a reason, and maybe I've inspired someone to make something. And actually, one of the things that happened, I think it was 6 months ago, so when I posted one of my I think it was my a new start cover, somebody listened to it, and one day I wake up and look at YouTube and I'm tagged in a video, and I go, wait, I didn't work with anyone. I haven't worked with anyone in like 2 months, and
I work
look up-
alone.
and I look it up why I'm tagged somewhere, and I'm tagging some guy's description, and he puts in the description, "Thank you to Ivison for serving as an inspiration for me to post this cover." And so
Ooh,
I was like,
Damn,
"Wow,
that's next
I
level. Congratulations.
Yo.
yeah,
you'll love
thank
to
you."
hear it.
That's such
Yeah,
a nice
like
feeling, right? When
yeah,
people love your work.
yeah,
Even if you
and
just make music for yourself, if there's other people who say, "Hey, I like this," that's,
yeah,
that
yeah,
feels quite good.
and that's the way I remember how to not to be so harsh on myself, because like Ark said, we know what the correct answer is, but I think when you look at the bands you listen to and the people you admire, and you look at people that are so small in the scene, and
Mhm.
yet you love their music, you love their art. I follow artists, visual artists on Twitter that have like 100 followers, and they make the most beautiful art, and they don't get a lot of followers or a lot of likes, but they make beautiful art, and I love what they make. So I like to think that to someone else in the scene, I'm that someone,
Yeah,
and that makes me remember, okay, maybe I don't have to be so harsh on myself. That's
that's
the
how it
way
started,
I,
right? The small
yeah,
fans, the OG,
yeah.
the apostles, how it is called with YouTubers.
The
The
apostles.
apostles.
I really like that. Apostles.
Uh,
Eventually, when you get big, the apostles are still here. You,
yeah.
Does that
the
mean one of
get
them?
function
11.
like subscribed since like 2 years,
Does that mean one of them's
and you
gonna
see
kill
them.
you?
Oh, oh,
Who's the Judas here?
oh no, 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 no.
So, uh, there's something like more a little bit on the lines of what Eve said. Like, he, it's actually a pretty good fucking point of Eve. It's let me bring the example of the only and only Takeuchi Maria-san, or Maria Takeuchi, who made what?
The
Let's
plastic
love.
law.
Let's
Yes.
go. This song, well, I mean, I don't really know the numbers of what it was originally in the 80s Japan, but I guess it wasn't that big of a huge deal.
Yeah, it
But
was like generic
at
pop
least,
At
music
least
back
not,
then.
at least not
Yeah.
internationally.
yeah, not internationally. At
Oh, I have
least
another good example.
she was like locally popular and so on. But then someone just uploads to YouTube, and then like 40 million people worldwide
Yeah.
find
And
it
now it's
like,
like,
whoa,
well,
this is the best
Yeah.
song ever, and
It's a
internationally
so
city pop
renowned
icon.
genre
Yeah.
of city pop.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So like in cases like this, and also I'm not remembering about another Japanese star, the Ryo Fukui, that's a jazz guy. They also had the same story, but with his full album. His full album got popular with international fans for all over. So, uh, as long as we have this sea of information flowing like in all directions, and hopefully, like the internet won't be destroyed and so on. Like someone going is going to hear like like one day in humanity's existence.
Hmm.
Like someone may listen. So it's not so like don't like give up on making out totally.
Yeah.
Like
I guess
it's
that's
eventually gonna make something. Yeah, yeah.
one of the things that the internet is good for, right? It's very, I guess, it's easier to for an indie to just publish things and maybe get noticed.
Yeah, it's like it's way easier to be global, boy. Guys,
Yeah.
people were like we must remember artists were very enclosure on their local communities, and on their countries, and wouldn't really leave before like the internet. Maybe except for
Like American pop or something.
yeah, American pop who would distribute their records like worldwide.
Hmm.
But if it wasn't for the internet, maybe we would never know there was like a vibrant African rock scene back all the way in the 70s and going on today. and there is modern African rap, and I'm so glad I know this shit, thanks to YouTube and so on. So I guess like he, if you watch those cases, like you should like consider, oh, this maybe not be popular today, but may be popular in the future. So may as well like do something that's kind of timeless, right? So
Yep.
Arkham was talking about the sheet posts, right? The sheet posts sort of don't survive like 10 years, 100 years from now, right?
It's evergreen
We agree
content.
on that. But maybe your most personal thoughts and shit may survive actually, because people may actually uh relate to that and really feel it. While the shit post is just, well, it may be successful like on some weeks and something, but
Yeah.
then people get tired and not really feel much experiencing a
Mhm.
shit post.
In 10
Uh,
years, we have like
Sure,
this
I have
release.
another point of view of that.
Hmm.
Of like the things like Maria Takeuchi wasn't really famous, and then she's now, her song is big. I have few an example with a different perspective. Okay, this one is Van Gogh. He was very depressed. His art wasn't accepted by anyone, and then after he died, it was a masterpiece. I
Yeah.
was thinking that,
Hmm.
like,
Right, right.
why the fuck are you when I was alive? Now I'm dead. You're all gonna praise me. I'm dying. I'm dead because I'm depressed.
Right, right.
Hmm.
The other one was Frank Kafka. Uh, You know Kafka, right?
Yeah.
He's a
Yeah.
writer. He's just a
The
normal guy
existentialist.
writing. Yeah, he's just writing because he doesn't publish it because he thought it was shit.
Mm.
And then after he died, he's like died miserably. His friend Post gave it to the publisher, and he got famous.
Yeah.
It kind of like
It's also just
made me mad.
confidence, I guess, right?
And I think, well, I remember this one video from maybe Ark knows him, Venus Theory. He's a pretty nice music YouTuber, and he recently made a video called "Why Make Music When Nobody Cares?" And
Oh, that
uh,
guy. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
Yeah.
think I
oh,
think
I
I've
know.
seen
I
the
know.
video. I've
I
seen the
like how
video.
we all know
Yeah,
the
yeah,
video.
well, going back to the point that you both made, Mev and Asu. No, no, it was Dangeon. Well, the point about making timeless things. One of the things Venus says in his video is that even if what you make is not timeless, you really have to stop and think, why are you even making music? Like, do you make music? Everyone's idea of success is different. Maybe for some is the numbers, for some is just being happy or making a living out of music. Everybody's definition is, well, different. So in the "Why Make Music When Nobody Cares" video, he talks about the ultimate goal of making music in, at least in his point of view. And the conclusion he comes to is that we make music to make the best of the only life we have. So even if we
Damn.
don't
Okay.
really make it as musicians, even if we don't make it in the VTuber scene, or hell, even if we, because in chat, Techman said, maybe instead of looking at it as get big, look at it as finding your audience. And I
Oh
completely
yeah.
agree with that. But some people, maybe the algorithm will never let them find their audience. So
Hmm.
one of the things Venus Theory says in this video is make music just because you love making music, and try to make the only life you have a little bit better, and try to
Yep.
make the only life the other people have a little bit better with your
Hmm.
music. So even if you don't make timeless music, even if your music is timed like in 2016 or 2012, if you you blew up making 2012 meme parodies, but for some reason
Minecraft
somebody
parody.
Those will definitely
Minecraft
pop up
parody.
again.
Minecraft
For some
music.
reason somebody found something in those covers and made them just decide to live one more day. That's fine with me, even if I didn't make it as a musician. And like Meb said, even if I died before I saw any of the results of my music, I think if I had a nice life and I felt
Mhm.
fulfillment, I think that's enough for me.
Life
I
well
think,
spent.
yeah, even if that feels like coping with the fact that maybe not everybody is gonna make it as a musician, that's okay. I think,
That's also
yeah,
just like
nobody,
acceptance, right? You need to
Yeah.
yeah,
learn to
yeah,
accept things.
yeah,
It
not
won't
everyone's gonna
always
make,
work out.
yeah, yeah. You should make it because
Already
you
accepted.
like it, and
Yeah.
of course you should work towards
Mhm.
that goal you have of making music as a living and making music for other people. If you want to make music to get famous, yeah, sure, go for it. Work towards that goal, but in the end, you should also accept that if you don't reach that goal, that's fine too, because you made your life and you made someone else's life a little bit better,
Mhm.
even if you didn't make it as a musician, and even if you didn't find your audience, and even if you, well, didn't even have the exposure in this era, and some people from 500 years later are going to find your music and find enjoyment in it. That's fine with me. I made the most out of my life,
Yep.
and somebody else was happy.
At least you did something.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, we got really deep really fast, didn't we?
Yeah.
But I think
We're getting
this-
right into it.
I think that's what
Yeah.
kind of the good. I like it. It's not even been an hour yet. That's what I'm all
Oh yeah,
about,
definitely.
baby.
I like it as well.
Yeah, yeah.
We're killing it, fellas. I think when I look at like the mental health aspect, because I think everyone's like hitting the nail on the head, is just like like kind of like the thoughts to tell yourself when this kind of stuff comes up, and like what you ask. Ask yourself like, why am I doing this? Like, what's the point if like I'm not guaranteed success? I think part of that is like accepting optimistic nihilism. Yeah, yeah. Have you guys seen? You know that meme?
No.
You know that meme where like the guy's like on the bus and the guy's like sad, looking at the wall, and the other guy's like
Yeah.
happy.
Oh, that one in the rainbow things on the other side.
Yeah, my favorite version of that, and this is how I tell people like with like social anxiety. Like I always show them this meme because it works for me too. Is like the sad guy's like nothing matters, and the happy guy's like nothing matters.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
true.
And
'Cause-
that's that's exactly the thing, right? Why does it matter that I do things? It really does not matter at all.
Yeah.
You talk-
Eventually, everything gets eradicated. Like
Yeah.
humanity will cease at some point as well. So at some point, indeed, there is no point to do it, and exactly because there is no point to do it, you can do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
There's
you were talking,
not really a like cause or effect to it.
yeah, yeah.
I
You were
think
talking about the bus meme.
yeah, the bus meme. I love that. That one's so good.
The cartoonist who did it is Brazilian. Let's go.
Let's go Brazil! We're going to Brazil on the bus. But I think
A little bit of nationalism.
just, we do a little trolling.
Yeah.
So I think like that's a big part, and like that's why I will take like some weird, almost like there'll be cathartic irony when like VTubing like dies off as a medium, because then like when
Whoa.
when VTubing 2, like when VTuber 2 drops, and everyone like what they build up for the last 3 or 4 years was moot. It's like, what were you guys fighting for? What was all this?
Yeah.
What was all this for? But like I don't know. That's the cool part about music is like, and content and art, like all that stuff is like immortalized in some way. So I think about one of my favorite YouTube videos is a Brain Power remix using the guy from the Krusty Krab training video. And that's like I found that when it had like like the guy had like 4K subs, which like I would like to have 4K subs. But, like, that's really not that much on YouTube in the grand scheme of things. And that, like, I was like, this video is the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life. And, like, nobody knows who this is.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah, that happens, right? You just find like a really niche thing that is like
Right.
has
Yeah, the
an
niche- the
illegally
niche is
low
the
amount
vibe.
of views.
Well,
Yeah.
and I have an anecdotal story about that. So you guys were there in early 2022. A lot of you guys were helping me mix that happy hardcore track I did for Bay's birthday, right?
I
And
think I remember.
that didn't go anywhere. However, somebody else saw that. They commissioned me 2 months later, and they were a Phase Connect VTuber. So
Whoa,
and
let's
she,
go!
so
Oh.
Remy
Oh,
still
like that.
uses my track as her
I'm gonna-
starting suit, and to me, I was like, really? I was like, that's what drawing. So like my logic is like, put it out there, even if it flops. Who the hell knows what's gonna happen? That's why, like I say, like nothing matters. Like it's like everything matters, nothing matters at once, and that's like. You just kind of just YOLO that shit, man. Like that.
YOLO that
I hope
shit.
because I think I
love
had
it.
exactly the same thing as well. Surprisingly, also with one from Face, like just out of a sudden, like messaging like, "Oh, I want to do some commissions and stuff," and I like the dark music, and I did some dark music like way back. I think only on SoundCloud maybe, and I was like, "Which one do you mean?" None of them popped off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like
Face
all
is
of us
unlucky.
here have had some connection with that, so that's kind of like the opposite end of the spectrum, like the optimistic end is.
Yeah.
And so this is a core belief on my stream, Mental Health Magic, is remember what your trophy shelf is.
Yeah.
True.
Right. Yeah.
So that's been like a thing for a while, is that so many of us, and I'm guilty of this too to an extent, is like we all have our dubs, right
Yeah.
guys, we have our dubs.
Yep.
And we tend to like kind of forget those because we don't have the current dub.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's sort of like you gotta look
Makes
back like,
sense.
yo, hold up, I got some nice dubs on my trophy shelf. Let me polish those off. And you're like, huh, okay. And this is why in therapy, I always tell people like, hey, tell me about a time that you already did this thing that you're trying to do. And sometimes they're like, well, there was one time, and I just kind of like, I'm like, we're gonna take it and run because it's better than feeling depressed and doing nothing.
Yeah.
And then it's
For real, for real.
and then they do it again. And it's like, okay. And they do it again, and they do it again. And then all of a sudden, now there's more dubs than there were L's.
Right.
True, true.
Mhm.
That's good.
I guess like there's like a downward spiral, right? When you don't get like the traction that you want, and you forget everything that you actually already achieved, but you don't see it anymore because you're like in that far downward spiral where you don't see any positivity or something.
Naruto.
Techman's story is so funny.
I just read it. Yeah.
Made him mad? What? That's funny. Yeah, see, there's the dubs. So, so
Musicians are pretty weird because. Sorry. Yeah, you go.
Ah.
all I was saying is
Wow.
that like I feel like the main bullet points from this discussion point have been like hold on to your dubs and realize that a lot of validation is out of our control. And I think us as humans are just really like we get flustered and like get kind of like desperate when we try to control things that are out of our control.
Yeah. It's also creature, right?
Oh.
Yeah.
There's some things that you don't even know about. Maybe you've already had a dub and you didn't even know about it because for
Uh-huh.
some reason you, I don't know, nobody tagged you or you didn't get it.
Yeah.
One of the examples I was going to give is the other day I was going through my YouTube studio because I don't remember why, but I was going through my YouTube studio and yeah, I remember why. So before I was making music and even the Silver Gunner stuff, I was uploading shit posts to YouTube. Specifically, it was like early 2012 shit posts. So a lot of those subscribers I had were from that era, and I wanted to see if I still had them or if they had left before that. And so I sort my subscribers by sub count because I remember I had like a pretty big meme account following me back in, I don't remember, 2015 I think. No,
Sam, okay.
no, because yeah,
Whoa.
but well, their account wasn't there anymore. But I noticed, I don't know why she decided to subscribe to me, but and that you mentioned Face Connect. fucking Pipkin Pipa subscribed to me. I don't know why.
Nice.
I don't know
God.
why she subscribed to me, but she. I don't know
Oh.
why.
She,
And
I
now that you-
mean, maybe it could be. It could be the shit post. It could be the modern stuff. If it's Pipkin, it's probably the shit post.
yeah.
Knowing
so as
her,
well.
she probably goes through like the annals of time to like find like the dankest meme she possibly can. And you know,
Yeah,
if
right.
that's from 8 years ago, that like I was barely producing in 2015. Like I like didn't know what the mix was. I did everything in one pattern because I was in college still. And it
The
sounded
only
like
thing I did
so-
was like piano covers back in 2015. That was
No,
a while
and-
ago.
Bro, I still use presets in 2015.
I use presets
I mean,
today.
I-
Let's go.
I still do as well, indeed.
Well, and now that you mentioned it, what did you say? The 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 annals of time, Pipkin historian thingy. The reason it weirded me out is because YouTube Studio shows you when they subscribe to you,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm gonna send this in chat because
Oh,
I
boy.
just looked it up.
21.
There we go, 2021. So I don't know. I thought she was like uh, uh, for the shit post and all that. I remember, and going back to the mental health thing. One of the things you mentioned, and I think I remember the interaction I had with her because, well, big or small creators, we all have these kinds of ups and downs. I remember one time in one of her streams, she was talking about university and uh, well, not doing what she liked and basically wasting away and all of that.
Okay.
And I remember very clearly that she says, I said something about we're basically on the same boat because uh, I don't know if you guys know I'm making I'm currently working towards a degree in biotechnology,
Right.
but I don't
Let's
really.
go.
The thing is, I'm doing it because well I need the money and I need to have food and that's about it. I don't really enjoy
Mm.
a lot of the things I do. And so one of the things she said in that stream was, well, just as controversial as she might be, she said something pretty heartfelt about making content, and it was like just make it because you want to make it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't follow, or in my case, I want to add something to what she said. Maybe do follow trends if you want to follow trends, if it's
Yeah.
really what you want. But in
It's
general,
not bad to do.
yeah, it's not bad to follow trends, but if it's just for the numbers, then uh, yeah, do it because you like it, not because it's gonna like
Yeah, it will be very hard if you do it for the
be-
numbers.
You
Yeah.
just it feels like you're selling your soul, and that's why you do it. Which is why
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
there's
I
all
was
these
talking about others, but
yeah,
yeah,
all these trends.
So,
that
yeah,
you don't want to do them.
my family. Yeah.
So yeah, leave doing for the numbers for like corporations. Like they will do it for the numbers.
yeah.
You as an individual, like uh, have like less resources to do it for the numbers. So
Yeah,
just
absolutely.
straight up, just have fun with it.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, doing by the numbers is kind of
Yeah. And like Ark said, just remember every dub you got and hold on to it and remember, hey, if I did it once, I can do it again. And remember why you did it. In my case, for example, I remember I posted a Midwest emo sheet post about Diamond City Lights.
Oh
yeah.
It was it started out
Fuck
as a
you,
shit
Finada.
it started out as a shit post because I was talking to Marvel and I sent him, hey, this kind of fits. What do you think? And he said, sounds good. And I decided to finish it, and that's why Lisa from Sundaria found me because of a shit post I made.
Because you posted it to begin with. Otherwise, you wouldn't
Yeah,
have seen
I
it.
posted it.
Aha!
Sometimes the shit
In
posts
fact,
are the
I
ones
was
that take
like,
off.
I was like, maybe I shouldn't post it because it doesn't really feel like I put much effort into it. But in
Yeah.
the end, I was like, yeah, fuck it, I'm gonna post it anyways because it's fun. And actually, the reason I posted it was because I was like, there's not a lot of Midwest emo representation in the
Mhm.
VTuber scene. There's not a lot of. I'm gonna sound like a snob, but there's not a lot of true emo representation in
Yo!
the VTuber scene.
Oh no!
So I was like,
the
you know what,
gatekeeping
fuck
has
it.
begun.
Yeah.
Yo!
Were you gatekeeping yourself?
It gets me so mad. Well, not mad. It gets me so. Uh, I don't know when people call like, "Oh yeah, I love emo. I listen to Machine Gun Kelly." Fuck you.
It's like, wait, hold up.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Are we going into the
So-
right direction?
Yeah, so
I don't know.
I posted it and just said, yeah, whatever. Fuck it. I'm gonna post it. And
Yeah, that's
it
a hard
happened.
thing to do, I guess.
Man,
Yeah.
here's the thing. Like real emo only consists of the DC emotional record scene or the latest 90s screamo scene. What is known by Midwest emo is nothing but alternative. Okay, yeah, you get it.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, it's quite
Yeah.
hard to like upload things that you are not proud of yourself. I guess that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is
I
that
guess
not what we
saying,
were
like,
talking about right
keep-
before
keep
stream?
uploading and stuff might
Because-
contradict saying like do it because you like it. So I
Because-
guess
Yeah.
that's quite
Yeah.
hard to do. But
Yeah.
also just be proud of the things that you put little effort in, because
And let
sometimes it just
me-
works.
And let me compliment that is that when you post it just for the number and enrich those results, you're gonna get very frustrated when it like eventually not really get those results, and like
Right.
you're at the same time you're not uh satisfied by your work and not satisfied about the numbers.
Yeah.
And you only got satisfied
Yeah.
when you got those views, right?
It's an
But
extra
when
L.
you do, yeah, but when you do, you like when you do stuff that you wanna do, then you kind of get satisfied because I've achieved this this I've achieved this art sort of how can I say like art it's an art achievement. So I put so much thought and work on this project that it like if it doesn't get views, like it advanced the collective human culture. Okay. I went very far. So
Yeah.
so like like but sometimes some of my works are like I kind of think that and I don't want to sound like I have a big ego, but so some of my works I do think like that. Oh, wait, this beat, this piece of music, advanced electronic music as a whole, and
Yeah.
even if it
It's nice
doesn't
to feel
get the
proud.
numbers,
It's not bad to feel proud.
Yeah.
even if it doesn't get the numbers, it's okay because it advanced the
Yeah.
art, it advanced the whole humanity. And when you really listen to the piece, it's just some cat boys sounds and shit, but it advanced.
Well, you advance the culture in one way, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yes.
And if
So
you think
yeah,
about
it's
it, kind of
different.
like the butterfly effect, yeah.
So, I got something here, guys. So I'm looking at our prompts, and I think the other two are like really good. Like the last two are like really good, like concluding ones. So like
Right.
that will probably go by really fast. So I'm gonna bring like something to the other end of the spectrum here. That
Right.
which we were talking about, like we feel kind of like lower than we are, and like we gotta like bring ourselves up. We gotta feel bring past the validation of numbers and how much like interpreted success is based on other people. So I'm going to bring one of two things up, which is I think about how there's a sense of, I don't know what parts of communities everyone is in, like how engrossed, say, in like indie VTuber culture, corporate, or just like producer culture there is, because especially with like, you know, producer culture outside of the sphere, I'm not really sure, because most of the stuff I do is BGM, because my favorite music, unironically, is video game background music. It always has been since I was a little kid.
Let's go.
That I don't know, like everyone's listening to like pop music in middle school, and I was like, here I am, like listening to the Sonic Advance soundtrack on my headphones on my Game Boy Advance.
I have that with anime soundtracks. Holy crap! I remember just one time in high school, I was so hyped about the soundtrack of Attack on Titan season 2. Season 3. I was like saying to my Wii friends, "Oh my god, it's getting out!" And they were like deadpan looking at me. Okay.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? No one feels like this? It's absolutely epic. Where's my kindred people? And then I found more people online who also like it.
That's a whole other topic, and I was actually I was out talking to someone about this yesterday, where
just aged 20 years older.
Yeah.
Oh man, if I age 20 years, that'll make me 50. Let's go.
Oh no.
Let's
Don't
go.
make me think about 20 years later.
Dude, I may be 30, but I really don't feel like it. I feel the same as I have like the last 5 years. Once you hit 25, it's over. It just doesn't matter. It's fine. But I was thinking, we were talking about like how like that kind of interest became mainstream. Like for like comic books, mainstream really hit in 2012 when the first Avengers movie came out, and that kind of paved the way for anime to be more mainstream, which probably started taking off towards the end of the 2010s era. And now you see like regular people who watch like one anime, they're super into it, they're cosplaying, like they're obsessed with Genshin, My Hero, like even people are getting into One Piece now, which is like one of the OGs, like that's so crazy.
You can track nets later, right?
Yeah, so I think one thing to think about before I pivot to my big scary next question is like, yes, like a lot of people think like, oh, this like area is saturated, but I also think like the audience is becoming more saturated just as a result of like a lot of people had to spend a lot of time on the internet, and even if they're spending less time now because it's 2023, you can go outside and not worry about getting sick immediately. Because, you know...
Yeah, that was definitely one that I actually talked about like a few hours ago with my dad, because it was like, oh yeah, we're doing the stream about mental health and stuff, and like he also was like, okay, so when COVID happened, everyone had these loads of time to do new things, like pick up an instrument and stuff, making new music, and once things started getting open again, a lot of people just dropped those new hobbies because they didn't have any more time.
That's part of it. Like think like so many I've had other VTubers say like, you know, they come to me and they're like, oh my god, Ark, my views are down. I'm like, you know, it's summer and it's nice out and you like people are vaccinated. And...
Quite hot here actually.
Yeah. And I'm sort of like, you know, like 2 years ago I had just debuted and I was like all about streaming all the time. Now I'm just like, fuck it, I stream when I want. I don't care. If you show up, cool. If you don't, that's fine because I'm playing Diablo anyway. So you know, whatever. But that's a really good point. So, I'll read what Techman says, and then I have a question about Impostor Syndrome. So get ready for
meeting
get
real
ready for
quick.
that.
Be right back.
Oh my god, he's an idle meeting, piss gang.
Go.
I will never type that into a corporate VTubers chat. I will never type piss gang. But I don't think that's a good idea. Okay, yeah. I think any work we approach somehow contains our approach, our emotions, neuroses, struggles. I like the word neuroses, personal quirks within it. So us overthinking our work where we try really hard, but perhaps haven't advanced the skills enough where it feels second nature. Oh my god, that's me for real. Can sometimes make the work feel inferior. Oh, messy and confusing compared to when we just don't care. Seize the moment. Desk and ship posts can be much more effective in communication. I think that's true. And like some of my favorite, like I'm working on a project where I take like Hollow EN songs and make them basically into Megalovania. And like Yagalovania hasn't like popped off, but it's one of those like I know this is fucking good because I had a blast making this. I was like laughing my ass off at myself, and I was like, I can't believe this is working. So it's like that's one of those like no, it didn't pop off on release. That's fine because I know at some point there's gonna be like even if there's one guy that sees this and it's like this is funny as hell. I'm happy. because I thought it was
Yeah.
funny. So I think, at that point, it doesn't even matter who sees it because you had fun. Channeling the spirit of Toby Fox and Camellia. Yes, that is goals. That is goals as hell. But once Azu or who went to Go Piss Gang? Who joined?
Yeah, so
Yeah, it was us.
Azu, okay. So I'm gonna give you guys the question to think about, and then I'll ask it fully when he's back, which is, and this isn't part of the prompt. That is, Impostor Syndrome. When you get a dub,
Yeah.
when something good does happen, how do you deal with that? And the reason I bring that up is the first thing I think of this hasn't really happened in like therapy, but I've like seen like people have this awareness of like, for example, like you're asking somebody out on a date and they say yes, and you go, oh shit, they actually said yes.
What do I do now?
Yeah. It's like what do I do?
am I on camera?
Right.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
like am I getting punked?
It's
funny,
that's interesting.
I just met up with somebody yesterday. It wasn't a date, but it was like, I'm gonna get to know you as a person, and we both agreed on that. And it was sort of just like one of those like, oh shit, like this is actually happening. That's crazy. And then she had said like, like Ark, you're like the most approachable person because like, and I was like, oh, I think I know where this is going. And it was like everyone else was either too much in a rush or they had an ulterior motive. Or I'm like, look, man, I think I'm just as cautious as you are. So,
Yeah.
Yo, he's back.
awesome.
Yes.
Azu, okay, great.
Hello.
I was
So
I was
you
thinking, like, I was talking about, okay, so my dark soundtrack from the past did not really take off. Then I was thinking, wait a minute, my first two videos that actually took off on my channel are dark soundtracks. So I contradicted myself.
See, you counted your W. Look at that.
Exactly.
I'm like waving my
So
arms around
the
above my head
advice
while I
is
talk. You
instantly
can't see
kicking
it. It's see, guys, we did it. The mental health magic is real.
Woo!
Oh my goodness.
So
Now,
we were,
now to
Wait a
break,
minute.
I'm going to shatter
We
your
were about
illusion
to
right
talk-
now.
Yep.
yeah, we were about to talk Impostor Syndrome,
Yep.
which is when you play Among Us and you.
Yeah.
No.
I'm actually the worst one.
Uh,
I hate being imposter. Give me crewmate. I can't stand
I
being
like-
imposter.
I like
Yeah,
to do
yeah.
it, but I can't lie that well. I start just screaming. My lying is screaming like hardly to get to the point, but it doesn't work. But I like
I
playing
don't
the
like being
imposter.
either because for imposter I'm too bad at lying, and for crewmate I'm too bad at defending myself, so I just suck.
Suffering from success.
Part of me, when they kill me, part of me is like, oh, thank God, I don't have to play anymore. I just do my task. I'm like, okay, I don't have to play.
I
don't
mean,
have to
the
yell
hide and
anymore.
seek function is so much more fun. in my
Okay,
opinion.
I do want to. I'd rather play hide and seek any day.
Hopefully the new
Anyway, so my question is about imposter syndrome. So, which is when you get a dub, or when you have start getting the feeling of success. How do you manage that? So I'll give out my little personal take. I experience that like so often, even with my own friendships, and I've expressed this to them. We call it dark hand. Okay, yeah, we do. We call it
Whoa.
dark hand, where
Whoa.
he's that whisper in my brain. I want to write I would love to write metalcore about dark hand at some point. I've had that idea in my head all week or for months.
Let's
Yeah,
go.
hit me up anytime.
I'm hitting you guys up when I do, for real.
Okay.
And basically, he's that voice that says like, "You don't deserve these people, like they're too good for you."
Whoa.
Or he said that's
Yeah.
like on a social level. With
It's
music, it's
deep.
yeah, it's made me lose sleep.
Yeah,
Before.
I get that as well.
And
Like you just finish a work, and the client is very happy with it, but
Uh-huh.
you think like, but not really proud of it. Do I deserve this really? I had it a lot
Yeah.
the other day actually.
mm-hmm.
Like I was, and I still think honestly, if I listen back, like, was this really what I wanted? But it seems to have, it seems to work. It seems to VTuber liked it, so it should be good, right? But you don't feel, yeah, it's a very hard thing to even explain honestly, because it's I think it hits like a lot of different things, a lot of different thoughts about it. Just like not feeling the proud that you have in your work, or maybe just like the profession in general, it could also hit there. So yeah, it has definitely a lot of facets maybe, and it sucks.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I
Usually,
saw something. I don't remember who posted this. I'm sorry, Matt. Go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt.
I'm sorry. Is it really imposter syndrome? Because I had an experience of like uh releasing a post. Yeah, well, it's kind of like a shit post, but I was just thought like, nah, this is not popping off, whatever. And then just like this kind of shit. So, but then like a week later, it got like 20K, and I was like, I'm so happy, but I don't really. Is that imposter syndrome at first?
Exactly right.
I
That
th-
feeling.
I think so. It's sort of like I don't deserve this.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Because
It's kind
I
of weird
posted
because
like,
I don't deserve
I
this, or
don't
maybe
really care.
like constantly comparing to like other artists out there, and like saying you're not as good as them. Maybe that also is part of it. At least I thought that it was part of it.
It's definitely a big part of it. I think that's a big struggle.
Yeah, I think
Mm.
what I imposter syndrome is like, I can do like what he can do. Why I cannot be like him or them or whatever?
Yeah.
yeah.
Maybe. Yeah. Perhaps that makes sense as well. It's hard to describe
Yeah.
it. I now realize it. You always, you always know of what imposter syndrome is, but to put it into words,
Yeah, it's kind of
True,
weird
true.
because it really goes both ways in how we justify both our dubs and our elves because uh, one side is whenever I fail at something, whenever I one of my uploads flops, I'm like, yeah, of course it was gonna flop because I didn't really put much effort into it, or I didn't post
mm,
it with the proper hashtags or whatever. But
mm-hmm.
whenever something I make really pops off, I think the more we know about how the platform works, the more we justify our success, being like, well, it didn't really have a lot to do with me because it was mostly the algorithm, it was luck, it wasn't really me. Maybe I composed it, but the fact that it
Yeah.
popped off, it wasn't because of me. It wasn't my doing. It was the algorithm. It was YouTube. It was a popular VTuber that saw it and
Mm.
retweeted it. It wasn't my own work.
Yeah. So
I didn't. Yeah, yeah,
You know,
yeah, for
So,
me, I guess it
one thing
depends on
about
the track.
mm,
On
right.
it's not.
yeah, so
Yeah. Mm.
I think, although I think there's already like one way. Like if it's a popular VTuber, they're not just they're gonna retweet something they think is good. Like we know that for a
Yeah.
fact. Like they like a bunch. Like they see stuff, they don't interact with it. They see stuff, they like it. They see stuff, they really like it, they retweet it. Like I think we all understand that on a fundamental level. Especially
Right, yeah.
at the highest. If it's like Hollow or Nijisanji doing that. I don't know that. Like I think even indie VTubers do the same thing because they're I don't know. I'm a little cautious because especially with indie VTubers, I do think there's a lot of problems with putting people that high up on a pedestal. Just because, like you see how clout gets to people's heads, and they start saying ridiculous things,
Yep.
and it backfires, or
true.
or
Yeah.
or people start
Definitely.
or people start getting away with stuff that they absolutely should not be getting away with, and
Ooh.
because people are too hard. And
Tricky.
I'm saying this not like like in terms of like they're gonna go eat your firstborn child in front of you, like that kind of thing. But like they could be doing something like very unethically, I don't know what that is. I don't have a great example, but like that's why I'm a little cautious to like put specific, in this case, VTubers on a pedestal because it's not good for them. And it's not good for us either, because then if we don't get the validation we want from them, that feels twice as bad. Like the whole idea of find your audience, I think
Yeah.
a big issue a lot of artists I see is that they get like that one retweet or that one they use like they drew I don't know they draw Bay, and then Bay uses it for their thumbnail, and then they experience euphoria, and then they just are
Mm-hmm.
like, I have to draw her every day. And
Oh.
I see so many
Oh,
artists, and these are huge artists, by the way, like, hundreds of thousands of followers,
Yeah.
and they're like, I didn't draw Bay today. I'm so sad. I feel so bad. I didn't draw her.
Yeah.
And it's like,
It's all getting back
yeah,
to the point of expectations, right?
yeah, exactly. And it's like, and one of my great, greatest things said to me by one of my best friends, closest friends, was, Ark, you cannot be involved in every project. And I was just kind of like,
Absolutely.
no, yeah, okay, yeah, yep, you got me. I concede. And I was,
I
and
mean, you
that,
can, but burnout is the effect.
yeah, I like
Yeah.
sleep. So I have a full-time job, and I do like sleep. So
Yeah.
I'm okay not being locked in the basement working on.
There is only 24 hours a day.
True. Man, that takes me back when I would like walk full time, then go to college at night, because I had like my college
Oh,
was
no.
basic night college. Like they had classes like 7 p.m. through 11 p.m.
Was it at least like a part-time study or something, or was it also full-time?
No, yeah, like studying was like sort of part time, and then I had this full time job like from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Oh my god,
and
how do you do that?
and and then I would also try to like oh yeah, Ark will remember this. I would like do entire tracks in a span of a Saturday, or a Saturday and Sunday, and I
Oh my
would
god.
speed run the shit out, because like, oh, I don't have time at weekdays. So like uh when was the getting rest time? There
Oh,
was no
yeah.
rest time.
Yeah.
there,
Oh,
there was
scary, scary.
and man, so it's still to this day, we all feel this, and I'm surprised we haven't uh, mentioned this yet. That is, oh, I feel guilty when I'm not being productive.
Oh my god.
Oh, let's
Yeah,
go.
Holy crap.
Let's
Oh.
go.
Ah,
No, crack that egg open, baby. Let's do it.
Yeah.
the moods.
So yeah, that happens a lot. But getting back to the imposter syndrome, I guess like for me, it's not that it's not that strong in me, I would say. Like, oh, I made this good video, and it got like traction. Like, the only example that comes to mind right now is the KFP rap. It's just a hip hop track that Kiara Takanashi really liked, and got
Congrats.
like 200k views. And I was like, oh, I never got this much attention for. But at the same, like, I wasn't exactly, oh, I don't deserve these and so on. But I was like, oh, this was due to the fact that, yeah, it is catchy, and like big people like shared and showed this around, and it got a lot of circulation. So there's most factors. But was also thinking, oh, my talent had a big part in this, and I'm kind of proud. However, I think I sometimes may fall into what Arkan said, that like feel a little bit of euphoria and happiness, which consequently, inevitably, leads to just getting back to normal or just getting kind of sad afterwards. So I was
Right.
talking about
Yup.
talking with uh I don't remember. Oh yeah, I think it was Lila. She said I said like, oh, if I get a Grammy one day, I may be happy for some weeks, then get back to normal again and get miserable again. even
Right. Yeah.
even
Constantly
if
comparing
it's
yourself with the moment you got the Grammy.
yeah
Kind of looking for the next high. Yeah.
Imposter
yeah
syndrome on yourself instead of on others.
yeah. So it's like this constant up and down, and I'm holding myself to not make a capitalism comparison, but it's kind of is. But anyway, but uh, people. Okay. So here's a little bit, very briefly about the nature of happiness. So on this constant cycle of euphoria, and then like I wouldn't say sadness, but like being bored or being very tired and sad. So in this cycle, it's like endless, and as soon as you go into a next level happiness, you gotta elevate. You gotta go to the next level, and it's gonna keep on what is the word that there's a very good word for that. It's scaling. Yeah, it's kind of scaling up, and it's gonna go and endless. And then what was the Oriental philosophy answer to that? Oh, happiness is perhaps not even wanting in the first place. So
Right. Yeah.
you don't you don't you must perceive happiness. So happiness is sort of uh feeling like feel what you feeling in the moment, and not a point that you must reach. Because if you keep walking towards a point that you're gonna reach, it's just gonna escalate from that, and you're not gonna you're never gonna be happy. And to be but like so to be happy, you must focus. Oh, how my day was today. So I remember some viral uh uh not really memes, but mental health, like short posts saying like, oh, do you have a happy life, or did you have a happy day? You had a good day. So like, focus on the good day. I had a good day, and
Right.
it was productive. There is no point in being like, oh, just when like a month from now, and when I finally reach that, I will finally be like, no, this sort of doesn't work. Focus on today. Yeah, I guess.
Living in the now
Yeah,
and not in the
yeah,
future or in the past.
Living the moment.
yeah,
Yeah.
Live in the moment, exactly.
yeah. Sort of,
Be
sort of.
happy.
Yes, yes. So yeah,
Be
yeah, yeah.
happy. Be happy.
Oh,
Oh,
Eve,
Sorry?
Eve, I think you're talking, but we can't hear you.
For me?
oh that was nice.
The jump scare. Yeah.
Uh,
Try
can you
again.
hear me?
Yes.
Yep,
Yes.
can hear you.
Hello. Yeah. No, I wasn't talking.
Oh,
I
that
wasn't
was.
talking.
Gotcha. But I like that. Okay, so mindfulness and gratitude are really interesting because mindfulness is like very, like it's like, I'm gonna say something kind of spicy. This is my personal take on mindfulness. I think it's kind of just been like a buzzword in mental health for the last decade. There
Oh.
because a lot of people say, "Oh, practice mindfulness." You know, it's like the same as people are
Ooh.
like practice journaling, but nobody really tells you how or why to do that. And this is why,
Yeah,
like,
it's too broad, maybe, right?
Yeah, it's like saying, and Lila, I'm not saying you're doing this. I'm just saying in general. So that's why I'm going to take a minute to explain how this applies here. It's kind of like a TikTok mental health thing, right? Where you can get
It's
it
like
in 30
saying,
seconds.
"Be happy."
Oh god, yeah.
Yeah, I'm almost.
kinda like-
I think it's a bit better than saying "be happy" at the very least. But I think
It's still
what,
the same range, maybe.
yeah, but I think it's like, what's interesting is that like this whole conversation has been like these bouts of euphoria, like Dangeon just described, or like that any of us have felt in the moment when we get that fat dub. It's like we have to remember happiness is just as fleeting as something like sadness or anger. Everything is just like a
Yeah.
temporary state. So I think once you like, it's kind of like that idea of mindfulness is like just live in the moment and then like recognize like you can get it again. It's just like not going to be constant, and that's why like I think I'm the one guy that lives in like the United States of America here. The whole concept of the American dream is chasing after permanent happiness, and that's the whole point of literature.
Yeah.
It's the whole point of literature from like the 1920s to like, you know, whenever that era ended, is basically you're chasing after the impossible. You know,
Yeah.
it's like
True.
Death of a Salesman is about this guy who like had like a stable job and like the standard nuclear family, and then he dies like unhappy because it wasn't enough. Like it was never enough.
True.
And that applies here. Like I look at you know, think about you know, half of Callie's music after her first album was basically about like, shit's rough, man. It's not as easy as you think. You know, and everyone's like, "Oh, you made it." And she was probably suffering the same things that we are. And look, she still gets so much shit because like people are like, "Oh, she's like, why is like, you know, you see those gifs of VTubers that says like, "Go white girl, go." That's
Yeah.
you know, it's kind of like that. So I can imagine she's experiencing that. And then I've seen okay, I'm going to try to do this without going on a long tangent. I see VTubers and content creators have, like, their alt accounts, and half of them are just like, I'm not doing as well as I thought. And part of me is like, do you know how many people would kill to be in your position? How many people they would step on? And it's like,
I guess it's not really a feeling that goes away quickly,
it's
or even at all.
It
Maybe it
doesn't.
stays every time. Yeah.
It doesn't. Which is why, and this is the perfect
Wait.
transition. Oh, Mev, what are you going to say?
Yeah, it's the same as you. The feeling of like I'm not enough. At every level you at, there will always be that. There's always that mountain you wanna climb.
The mountain, yeah, the mountain metaphor, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So I think here, this is a good point to pivot to point number 2. And like I said, this will be short, but because like we had such a good discussion on imposter syndrome, I think this there's a lot of discussion here. The second question of the prompt is, what are 1 to 2 things you are currently learning or wish that you knew sooner when learning to produce and make content from the mental health perspective? So what Epsilon put is, don't get too tied up in the small audio details that will delay your release by an entire year.
Yeah.
In 2 months.
Yeah.
And
Oh
the-
lord.
Yeah, he's real. And then I love this. He says, in 2 months you'll probably cringe at the mixing anyway because you're getting better, so you might as well just
Right.
put it out. And sometimes, like we all said, it's the scuffed content that gets popular.
Right.
Yeah.
And
That's
actually,
definitely
It's like
like
saying-
you said, yeah.
Know when to stop.
What is you done when you stop making?
Yeah.
If you not release it, it will never be finished.
Mhm.
Yeah, like
Right,
the art piece is never finished.
Yep.
You just
Yeah.
you just fed up with working on it.
Yeah.
And that's why remastered versions exist. The
Yeah.
2030 remastered.
Yeah.
There's
Actually,
always those
going back
plans.
To what Epsi
So-
said.
So like think about the question. So like mental health stuff, like related to music making. I would say like so Epsi said about the very small details and so on, and there's one thing I wish I knew that's very universal or not. There is and this and I quote, what was his name? What was his name? Oh god, it was a hip hop producer. He would make beats and so on. He, Medley, yes, Medley. So he's American hip hop producer and so on. And he said like once, if you have to think too hard about something, it's probably wacky. And I took that, whoa, yo, he's for real.
Wait, it's
He's for
probably what?
It's probably wacky.
Oh, okay.
It's probably
Wacky.
janky.
Hmm.
So so the that's something like that has to do with one of my biggest flaws when I when I go out on learning something new, but it's also kind of a strength. But I'll make it. I'll explain. I have a particular problem that I don't do not at all want to start at the basics. Maybe when maybe when I learn like programming, developing, I had to learn on the basics because college and so on.
Mhm.
But like when I went to learn music, I wouldn't watch tutorials for shit, and I
Mood.
like the problems with that is that like when I go on to make a process, I go like, want to go on to make like some music that I'm not really familiar with and so on. And on those very beginning years back in 2014 and 2015, I also like trying to make like a Skrillex level beat with a with a total
Right.
newbie knowledge.
Oh
And so
no.
and I was like sort of pushing myself on like spending hours trying to reach that level and so on and so on until I like I thought, oh yeah, it's better for me to learn a little bit and watch tutorials and not push myself to make something so complex, but I haven't the technical abilities to reach yet. So there's that. This is one of my biggest struggles, like to this day. But except for like nowadays, I know a heck of a lot more about music, and so oh, there's a new genre coming up. Say like funk, or
Oh
they
boy.
people people are also talking about cybercore and so on. New genres come like every day, right?
Mhm.
So when I oh there's no genre come on, I wanna take that into my production. Well, now I fucking know. Now it's kind of easy. Now it's nice and so on. But it's super easy. But yeah, back in the day, like I would just open FL Studio and yeah, let's something's gonna come out. Let's go. But it was
Sometimes I
just
still do.
yeah, but
Yeah.
that was just sort of frustrating, and yeah, I still do feel some a bit of frustration nowadays here and there. But now at least I know. Oh, it's not me. I'm not a failure. I just need to watch a quick tutorial and read a little article, and something and something will come out. Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
Watch the 17-minute tutorial. You will do it now.
I like what Techman said in chat. The
Yeah, I'm reading it
learning
as well.
when not to do something,
Yeah.
because
Mhm.
yeah, and connecting kind of what Dangian said and what Techman said.
Ah.
You can watch the 17-minute YouTube tutorial But if you watch 20, 17-minute YouTube tutorials, some of the information in one tutorial is gonna clash with information in the other tutorial, and you're gonna think, well, maybe I'll just do both, or maybe I'll just use parallel compression, but also regular compression. But I'm also going to use this one and this plugin, and I'm also going to do this type of processing. But I also want to do parallel reverb, and I also want to do this and this effect chain. And in the end, you're just doing stuff because you know how to do it, but maybe the track doesn't really need it. Maybe
Yeah.
you just need to do a simple de-esser, compressor, EQ chain, and that's all that you need. Maybe some saturation, and that's about it. You didn't need all that fancy stuff. And
Yeah.
going back to what Ark said at the beginning of the stream, most of the stuff we do is just stuff we already knew how to do, but just fancy terms. So
Yeah.
parallel compression and saturation with, I don't know, the kinds of plugins, fucking Soothe, the plugin Soothe. I didn't know that I could do that with Isotope till I read that, what's it called? Sculptor. The Isotope Sculptor is basically the same as Soothe, and I was so caught up with the fact that, oh god, I don't use Soothe. Maybe people don't like how it sounds because the resonance sounds like ear grating and all that stuff. And it turns out I actually was doing it all this time, and I didn't know that I was doing it.
That happens.
Yeah,
Actually,
yeah.
stop plugin is enough.
I think that's a big
And-
one. Is just like knowing.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing that I know, I wish I knew, is like, one, like there's going to be imposter syndrome because people are going to use terms and stuff that you don't know, but like actually you do know, which is a big thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right. Yeah.
Like for example, hi Marble, good to see you. Exactly.
I know.
Hello.
Yo.
Yeah, we got all the fellas in here. Love to see you.
The club's all together.
Like half the time, like you guys will be talking about something, and I'll be like, "What? I feel so behind." And it turns out it's just fancy
Oh
talk
my god.
for stuff that
Oh,
I've been
God.
doing the whole time that I just kind of like piece together bit by bit.
Yep, very true.
You turn this knob, it sounds more scrungly, but if you turn it down, it sounds more mushy, but it sounds kind of boxy, so just pump it up so it sounds less mushy and kind of wanky and whatever. I don't know the terms,
Me
but
press,
I like how it sounds.
me press
Yeah.
button.
Me press button.
It
button
sound
do,
good.
Nice. Sound good. Neuron activation. And actually, one of the things I was gonna say. Sorry, yeah, you go first.
No, you go. I'm just saying stuff.
Right. Sorry. I was gonna say regarding the prompt of something you wish you knew before you started producing music, and something I'm still learning is to just, to put it bluntly, just fuck around and find out, because nowadays there's
I love that phrase.
so
Yep, same.
so many YouTube videos telling you how to correctly do compression and how to correctly do, I don't know, mastering and all that. But in the end, if you don't experiment with compression, if
Yep.
you don't experiment with EQ, you don't know how it sounds. So you just
There's
gotta
not
go to the
one good
extreme.
way to do it, right?
Right. So you just gotta, fuck around and find out. But
Mhm.
we're so worried about things sounding right that we're afraid to experiment. And like I said, I didn't know what a compressor was supposed to do till I started fucking around with the ratio, with the attack and the release. Actually, Marvel in chat, he won't let me lie that he taught me a bit about compression using kind of like visual examples, using slime and all that, and that's when it really hit that.
Yep.
All right, this is what compression is supposed to do. I didn't understand until I started experimenting, and right now actually I'm working on a piece, and I put a, what's it called, an amp sim on my main synth, and it sounds good. It's not conventional, but I like how it sounds. It sounds okay.
Yeah,
True.
Yeah.
that's all that matters,
So
honestly.
yeah,
There
just
are
fuck
multiple
around,
roads
find
to
out,
Rome.
and if you like it, just keep it. If you don't like it, don't keep it. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's one point to what you guys are saying. and it's nothing to do with mental health though.
Go on. That's fine.
so so uh one thing that about tutorials and shit, tutorials will give you the very much like, oh, how to compress a guitar, and then you follow the tutorials and don't really get into the sound that you want and so on. That's of course, unless your guitar sounds more or less how the tutorial originally sounds without compression, and then you pick the exact same steps and it sounds the same and so on. If your guitar has different characteristics and needs a, like, it will need a different settings of compression, different settings on the equalizer and so on. But like at the same time, it's gonna need these settings, but for what purpose exactly? And that's type of stuff that you have to keep in mind, and that's why I defend a different approach to like tutorial watching and tutorial reading. Why? In what is that what which approach is that I'm talking about? The approach is pick very like very small building blocks, very, and yes, you have to get technical about it. You have to understand, like, pick very more like specifics on the instrument, specifics on the effects that you're dealing with, because when you understand, like, oh, you want to mix, you gotta understand like audio properties properly and deeply, so you can really know where your current work in progress, what your current project is standing, and where it needs to get. Understanding like each element of the compressor, each element of like music theory, and you don't need to get super deep about it, but at the same time, don't follow tutorials without understanding, you know. So you understand like how reverb works, and why is the what why where will this understanding take you and so on. Having like the basic rules and so on set out, you can not only get where you want to be and sound like your favorite artist, but also you can sound like more unique, and knowing what are the properties that make you unique. Because I
Right.
was talking about originality in the beginning, right? So you may like mess around with the plugins and settings and so on, but if you don't understand what you're doing, it's like you found a original sound and so on, but you can't like replicate it if you don't understand it, and you maybe like doing something com- so like super crazy and so on, but you don't know what you're doing, you know. So like about tutorials and stuff, that's my argument, I guess. So understand what the fucking ratio on the compression does. It's
Hmm.
kind of important.
I
Yeah,
th-
small steps in like the
Yes.
tutorial, I guess.
I think the other thing is, in my issue with tutorials, is that they just presume that you already know what you're doing, but if you're watching the tutorial,
Hmm.
you don't. So there's just a huge like gap, and like, I frankly I don't really think most of these tutorials are very approachable.
I mean, honestly,
They aren't.
yeah.
To give
Uh,
you an extreme example, Licanics are
our
the only one, the one and only would cut the sub bass frequencies like 200 hertz, 100 hertz, and below that, out of bass sounds. He would cut the bass out of the bass, because tutorials tell him you should do that to every instrument. But obviously, the tutorials wouldn't say, oh, cut the bass from the bass, but it would say cut the bass out of from like a hi hat. But then Likanix would do that to bass sounds, and
I
like,
can't
bro,
believe we're outing him right now.
We're exposing the worst in here.
So I here's my issue with the tutorials, right? And I think Layla made a good point. Like, I think it's good to use them. I think there's some great references. I would love. Here's content I think that needs to happen, right? And this is great for. This is good TikTok and short form content, because if you can explain it like I'm in kindergarten, it's a good tutorial. So one of the best examples is just like someone's like, okay, so you see the EQ, right? It's got all 7 colors of the rainbow. All the different sounds should occupy different parts of the rainbow. And I'm like, thank you. Okay, see, I get that. But like no one has made a video like that as far as I'm concerned. Not like an easily accessible one, and it only takes a few minutes.
Yeah, the very basics.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that indeed.
Like, say what you will about shorts and TikTok, but like I think there's some excellent like information that can be had
definitely
on that kind
I've
of stuff.
seen it with programming actually, with like some things in Python that I never knew, and I was like,
true.
YouTube Shorts, and I was okay. I've been using Python for like a lot of years, and I didn't know this, and now I instantly know it without even needing to read anything, with just a what was it, 30 seconds short clip on explaining it, the functionality, the result of it, what it does. Yeah, that really is one of the things that those short videos are quite good at.
Yeah. So like you're like Indian origin, right? Like,
yes.
If you're watching tutorials, and basically, as we know, all the tutorials ever were done by Indian. Then what? Wait. So like, you guys don't already born knowing maths? Whoa.
Asians aren't let born learning math indeed.
I'm American. We don't know anything. Okay, apparently, according to the rest of the world. All right.
Those are your words.
But like all the tutorials are Indian, and that's like fucking awesome.
At least
like,
that's the stereotype.
Getting back to what Arkan was saying, like, equalizers are like rainbows. They're gay.
Happy Pride Month, baby! This video's this VOD is on June 25th. Well, here's what I was gonna say though. Like, Marble Tech, Lila, all saying like, you need to have some understanding of like the tools available to you, and this is why a big part of me like is an advocate of like, you don't necessarily need like crazy expensive equipment to make music.
I agree.
I
agree so much.
The Citrus default preset for bells is like my iconic sound. You can hear it. It's in the BGM right now. And
I have one Citrus preset that I always use. Indeed, it just works. You don't need like what it was, an Omnisphere for like a fancy synth. Sometimes the factory preset is all you need.
True.
And that's honestly how you need to start making music. Just not like buying everything in bulk, like every wall contact, like the ultimate, like Omnisphere, all of those.
I already made a meme about this. Yeah.
You will get information overload if you do that. That is not, in my opinion, not really the right way to go with starting making music. You need to start like very basic, like exploring the things with the limited functionality that they have to like truly understand how they work. And I think that really works how to start making music as well. On the EQ thing and like overloading your mix, sometimes simplicity is key. You don't need much to make it sound good, and sometimes the factory preset sounds just good already. You don't need to put like compression and EQ and all of that, a whole mixer like rack on that one synth because you have seen that it makes you look professional and stuff, or like a million automations and stuff. I barely use automations honestly.
The DAW had a manual and tell everything you need to know about making music, like every DAW.
Yeah.
They have a manual. And no one's born reading.
Yeah, reading is definitely important as well. The documentation.
If you know the basics of music, like any DAW will do it. I
Yeah,
started like on FL Studio, then learned a little bit of Ableton, but I was like, yeah, I cannot keep using pirate software forever. And FL and like FL will cost like $1,000 in my currency, and Ableton is even worse. So my option was Reaper. Let's go Reaper gang, and I
Baby.
and I learned about it, so on, and I was able to do amazing beats, just like I was doing
Yeah.
in FL, even better.
There
So
isn't really like
I
the
think
best DAW.
yeah, it's what
It's
the
just
fuck you
getting
use.
used to like the workflow of a certain
Yeah,
DAW, and then it
yeah,
just
yeah,
works.
yeah.
It's just
And
like,
I,
yeah,
Yeah.
getting used to your own workflow, your own system, the sounds that you possess. That's the important thing.
true.
Like getting accustomed to those things instead of like things you see on the internet, because you don't have those and you can buy them, but maybe you don't even need it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think this is
like
a lot of this is preaching to the choir. Like we all know that we're not gonna like it's just that kind of stuff, right? So we know like not to like, go out and buy like Tokyo scoring strings when we've never worked with strings before. Yeah, I'm adding myself. Um, I think when it comes down to like what we want to know, I almost wonder if it's like and this goes back to tutorials. I think it's sort of like use discrepancy, right? Because that's what you guys are saying. Like, this tutorial will teach you this. So, like, one thing I see a lot of is tutorials will say, like, oh, you don't want to go over this much decibels of compression, right? But that's not, like, gospel either, because, like, I've had
Nope.
tracks where my instrument is so quiet, even with, like, 5
True.
decibels, I have to crank it up to 10, to 11, 12, and that's when it starts hitting, like, okay, now this is, like, being mixed well. Like,
Yeah.
you can still hear it. So,
Nice.
it's like, you can't, like, treat it like gospel. Because it's
No,
like,
exactly. It's also just like applicable to different genres as well.
yeah,
True,
exactly.
yeah, I think
Yeah.
the best way to learn everything like about music is through friends.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a
Like
big thing. That's a great
through one
resource.
of us.
Mm-hmm.
Like because all of us have like almost like near level of knowing things, so it doesn't hard to explain to one another.
Oh
Like
yeah.
it's very different if I learn something from like very big, I don't know what they're talking about. But if I learn from you, who is like more have more a bit more knowledge than me, I know what you're talking about. You know what I mean. You know what my question.
Like, you don't have to, like, go through hoops to explain it with a friend.
Yeah. You're already accustomed to
Yeah,
like speaking as well, right? You know what they mean with certain expressions,
yeah.
because that makes also a little bit easier to understand things.
And that is fascinating.
So that actually
Yeah.
goes into my next thing. And I don't think Jay and I talked about this on Mental Health Magic, but we talked about it off stream, I think. So actually, are you guys familiar with Dr. K, Healthy Gamer? I think
Yeah.
I preach that dude because like not only does he like so I was like kind of burning out in therapy right before COVID, but then I watched this interview with Lily Pichu and I was like, this job is the greatest job on earth. I'm so ready. But I watch a lot of I like his interview. So there's one where he talks about why people get intimidated. And this is one that I need to process. So he's like, when you're trying to like ask somebody for something or like what makes you intimidated. In that video, he kind of, and I'm not saying like I'm taking his word as gospel. It's like it's to explain a concept. He says when you're intimidated by someone, it's because you see them as a different version of yourself, like perhaps an improved version of yourself. So I think it's sometimes, and I'm gonna be honest. Like I was very hesitant to like ask you guys for advice at first because I was kind of afraid of this. and I'll explain why, is because like when you put yourself out there in front of somebody who you perceive as a lot better, any criticism they give, you know, even if it's the best and most constructive criticism, it's going to feel like initially kind of like a blow to the ego, right? So, and I think like that's why like these tutorials, for instance, why someone would talk about them over friends at first, like if you're shy or if you're not, you don't know that many people, it would be hard because, or it's easier to get into tutorials instead of that at first because you don't have that like personal interaction. It softens the blow. Like, okay, yeah, it's like you're taking notes from a professor over a Zoom call, but you're not like paying money for the class. Whereas with a friend, it's a bit more personal. They're gonna give it to you straight. Like, Ark, this mixing part sounds like shit. And I'll be like, I don't think anyone here is going to say that because I think we all know better than that, like that, because that doesn't work. And, you know, like teachers always say, oh, compliment sandwich, say something good, say something they can say something good.
Oh,
It's cheesy, but it works. It's
Sugarcoating.
It's not sugarcoating if you're honest.
That is true.
That's so.
And I think it's.
What's up?
Yeah. Yeah. I was gonna say that. You said about constructive criticism and how it can feel kind of like an attack sometimes. And one of the things I really wanted to mention is that precisely the constructive criticism has been, I guess you could say, tainted by the toxic positivity mob.
Okay.
This
Yeah.
mentality to avoid constructive criticism and immediately categorizes it as it's you being an asshole, when in reality you are trying to give the person constructive criticism, and the other way around. There's people who try to pass being an asshole as constructive criticism. So it's kind of like it's pretty
in the gray area.
yeah, it's a pretty blurred line. So
Yeah. Unrequested criticism is kind of annoying though. If it's unrequested, you know.
Yes, I have a huge. In fact, it's literally a rule of my chat that if you're gonna like give me advice, you have to redeem it, because then it's like you care enough to do that. Because I've literally had like people come in and backseat produce, and that like makes me anxious. Like it doesn't even make me mad anymore. It just makes me like anxious. I hate. And you know, and it also comes off as condescending. It comes off as condescending to me, at least.
criticism should be asked for. Yeah.
The best received criticism is asked for. Like, I know people are like, oh, you should take any criticism thrown at you. I'm like, yeah, what if I don't care about that person's opinion? like real talk.
Yeah, you can, but whether it is necessary.
Right. So, I think, so we're actually approaching, like, the last topic, so this is a really good segue. And the last, like, thing I had, for at least on my end, was what sort of things you want to change about the atmosphere in terms of mental health, reducing stigma, or, like, addressing that. So, just picking back up what you guys are saying about, you know, toxic positivity tainting the idea of criticism, I think the first step is, like, knowing how to approach criticism while still being as supportive as you can, and knowing how to ask for it. So I'll give you guys a really strange example. When I was in college, I went to audition for the jazz band. It was the worst audition I have ever done in my life.
Someone threw a chair on you.
What's that?
Someone threw a chair on you.
Oh, they threw the.
Jazz.
It was. Oh yeah, they throw the symbol like in a Birdman with a Charlie Parker. Yeah. No, but it was literally just me in a room with the jazz professor, and for reference, we called the jazz professor God, because he was just like that kind of human being, where he was so knowledgeable, so wise, and he just sits me down and he's like, so like and he basically just turned it into a private lesson. But he did it so smoothly that I didn't even feel bad. Like, I was like, you know what? I know I botched it. He knew I botched it, but he was like trying to give me advice, and, you know, I said, hey, thanks for the opportunity. And that's it. So
that's a good guy.
Wonderful.
Ooh.
Absolutely wonderful. Wonderful man. Really glad to have him. Techman said a really, really good piece of wisdom was from someone I've been following for a while. Only serious people listen to criticism from people who you would also turn to ask for advice. I mean, yeah.
Mm. It goes both ways.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Right.
Yeah, that
what
makes
you
sense actually. Yeah.
mm, what you just
Like
said about the professor, so professional teacher and so on, it's it's basically like what I already got as a mentality, in general, mentality mindset, in general, because I don't I don't I don't really see the point on criticizing and saying, oh, this is shit, and not giving a better alternative or like a solution or like and so on, because you describe it your jazz teacher as like he didn't exactly say he didn't just say, oh, you butchered this and that and moved on. No, he identified where were your flaws, then immediately gave like a class so you could improve, right? So when I approach criticism is and feedback, I always already try give like a solution and try to say, oh, try doing this and try doing that, and oh, I see what your intent was, that this track is sounding pretty cool, but maybe perhaps you move this knob and so on and so on. I actually dislike mortally dislike. I think these people should not exist.
Damn.
Which people? The people that the people that criticizes
Just
and
sort
just
of
and just
standard
cri- yeah, just
standard you.
criticizes for the sake of criticizing, not never gave any solution.
Okay.
Nothing is good. Everything is criticized. These people are just so fucking annoying. Jesus Christ.
like
To the
say
Yeah,
it's
contrary.
shit, but not why it is shit.
and yeah, and
Yeah,
never say uh something that is not shit. You know why? Because I like okay, this is a wild guess, and it probably doesn't apply to everyone, but they probably have some insecurity, like some
They
level of
do.
insecurity
They do.
of on what they like. They won't present you what is the solution. They won't present you what they like, because they are more scared than you of having what they like being called shit. And yeah, insecurity, we know how it works, right? Because it's very interesting. Like for a while I thought that insecurity was something very like internal, and like there's no way someone insecure would uh attack other people. And indeed, well, some insecure people indeed doesn't attack a lot and so on, but yeah, they execute it either way and so on. But I'm feeling like the majority of people are insecure and do attack each other, and a lot of toxicity comes from fucking insecurity, and it's kind of annoying. But yeah, it's humans.
I think the biggest
yeah,
issue is like if you're gonna offer criticism, like you have to like as we're all saying, like the biggest thing is offer a solution. You can't just be like, this is bad. This is bad. You know, you have to say like, this is bad. Hey, let me show you how to fix it.
Yeah.
Mm.
I have a question though, about taking criticism. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
let's say there's a scenario of two producer giving you criticism, like real criticism. Um, one bigger producer and the other which is like okay producer. The bigger producer says some things what he thought it should be, and the smaller one says something that make you even better. But how you choose the right one? Because you obviously gonna listen to the bigger one, but it would not lead you to become better.
Mm. That's a question on authority. You know, it's like what you're saying reminds me of, oh, why does that dude should be the president? Why shouldn't we take him down? And so on. So, oh, the bigger producer or the smaller producer, and so on, and you gotta choose who you listen to and who is the authority,
Yeah,
right? That's very complicated. Yeah. Oh,
like
the bigger
the
producer is. Mm,
like the bigger producer have a good intention, and the smaller one have a good intention too. But you obviously pick the bigger one, but they don't do
yeah.
not the criticism do not lead you to become better of what you want to become better.
Mm. Yeah, you gotta really reflect, like, oh, what does this advice from the bigger producer makes me feel about the track. So I will I'm following the steps given by the bigger producer, but I'm not liking the result. Oh, I'm following the steps by the smaller producer, and I'm liking the result. So that's I think that's kind of a solution. Art is like subjective. Oh, this is so cliche. This is so fucking cliche.
Yeah,
Art is subjective.
It's
But
cliche because
yeah.
it's real.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
So I think that kind of goes
yeah.
on to like putting people on a pedestal, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, why does that guy have to be a president? Why don't we take him down? Yeah.
Actually, one of the things that Layla said in chat way back, she said when we were talking about how we think about ourselves and if we deserve what we got, and she said when you have that mentality and you really have it ingrained in your brain, you tend to push that mentality into others, and then
Oh
it's
yeah,
not
yeah.
only about yourself, it's about the others. You
Yeah.
think that the
That was
others
about
also
imposter
deserve.
syndrome, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like imposter syndrome, but not only for yourself, but now for the other person you're
Yeah.
looking at.
You're like
Yeah,
saying, well, do they deserve where they are right now?
right,
Instead
right.
of just asking yourself that. Yeah, that can get dangerous indeed.
Yeah,
I was
And
reading
that
the next
one
comments.
thing that really helps,
I agree as well, right?
one thing
Sometimes maybe you don't exactly know what the alternative would be to, or like the explanation of why it is shit, but sometimes just saying that, oh, what you did here, I did not really like that much, but maybe you can change it with something else, but I'm not really sure um, what exactly, but indeed. Um,
Think of an
yeah,
I
sometimes
have an
there is
idea.
not really a solution.
I think in that case you say like, "Hey, this guy might know the answer to that. Why don't we get him?" And if you're like in a Discord, you just at that person, be like, "Hey, like, look at my comment. This person's asking for feedback. Maybe you can like, maybe you're an expert more on this genre than I am to help them find the sound that they're looking for." And then like, this is where like the whole idea of like having a circle helps.
Hmm. Yeah, exactly.
right.
And I think here's the other thing, and I'm going to say this because this is going to be a VOD at some point. If because obviously this doesn't apply to us, otherwise we wouldn't be talking. But if you're like a artist, producer, or whatever out there, and you don't have a circle, then like a big part of what we were saying earlier is like just put yourself out there. I think that also like if you see an opportunity, like talking, like there's like an opportunity to join a Discord or like you know something like that or some place where you can share and ask for feedback, like just take that opportunity. It's a good way to make friends and those
Yeah.
connections and to improve yourself amongst peers.
Hmm.
um
yeah.
you just don't pass those opportunities up, because I know that like maybe there's like, even if it's just one person who watches this or is watching this and is having that thought, I want to address that because I get it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Just go for it.
Yeah.
You never know what it will bring you.
Communicate.
um
Communicate.
I have another spicy topic I was just thinking of that's
Ooh.
kind of
Like,
I like, no, see, here's the thing, I love the spicy topics because one, they're spicy,
I'm
they're
Mexican, I
interesting.
love spiciness.
They're
Mhm.
definitely interesting.
It's interesting, but
Yeah.
also
That's
it's like it brings the whole point of mental health magic is to bring attention to topics that you wouldn't otherwise address, like
Yes,
on
yes.
Right,
Yes.
yeah.
which is the whole point. So this, I want your guys' thoughts on this because I don't know if this is the perception in like the producer stream, but this is definitely the perception, like kind of a taboo perception in the indie VTuber scene. Competition with each other, competition amongst your peers.
Right.
I personally, I don't fully subscribe to the idea, but I do think that it is toxic positivity to say we're all friends here, we're all in this together. You know, where VTubers like, you know, we can all be buddy buddy, we're all on the same page. I'm like, I'm not so sure about that if you guys overlap audiences and stuff, like, and you guys are
Yeah.
streaming at the same time.
Of course, being friendly is like always a good thing to do, but you can't expect that like everyone is like that, I guess. And
But
I guess on the competition part, I guess healthy competition is always not just good, but you shouldn't overdo it with like a lot of things, I guess.
How do you define health competition as healthy? Like how do you make that distinction of like healthy versus unhealthy competition? I'm genuinely curious.
So
Yeah,
Oh,
I would say
so
don't overdo it, but then you ask what is not overdoing.
yeah,
Yeah.
though not overdoing helps. I have a different perspective that is how healthy and unhealthy competition has a lot to do with how you treat your nemesis, well, nemesis, your adversary, and so on. Because if you start seeing them negatively, it's it starts to be a healthy competition and starts to dehumanize your adversary. It
Ooh.
starts to be
Yeah, that's
unhealthy
dangerous.
competition. If you have perfectly casual talks with your adversary, and you are basically friends, then that's pretty much healthy competition, because you keep the because that's the thing. There's competition and there's hostility. They are different.
Yeah.
You when you compete, you want to try to outdo the other person in a particular aspect. Yeah, well, we're gonna I'm gonna outdo your own music and so on, but we
That
can
only
still
works in
talk no
anime.
problem. Yeah.
That only works in
we,
Bocce the Rock.
yeah, the rival friends, right? The rivalry and friendship. But we talk, and that's all normal. But we try to all do ourselves and impress each other and so on. That doesn't get into the hostility territory. The hostility territory is very much, oh, I don't like that person in any aspect. Like the healthy competitor will admire the person they are competing with. The unhealthy competitor will hostilize the person they are competing with. And I think that's a very I'm impressed with the sentence that I just came up with. And I didn't thought it would come out that great. But yeah.
Southern wisdom.
Yeah. So I think that's it. Like there's a very different difference between like we like two nations trying to compete and do better economically. When the hostilities start, it's when it wars start, and imperialism and so on. And so yeah.
Right.
That's my thoughts. That's my thoughts.
My next question
No.
then would be like, how do you get to a point where the competition is where like you can view like the competition in that healthy light? Because so I'm gonna give an example. Like I firmly believe the most toxic emotion, and the sad part is you can't control feeling this emotion. You just control what you do with it. Like any negative emotion is jealousy, because jealousy is
Right, yeah.
jealousy
Yeah,
is
thinking the same.
it's fear and anger combined. Like it's like anger
Yeah.
and bitterness that comes out of fear of losing something. And we all know rejection is such a powerful feeling that you feel it physically in your brain and your body the same way you feel physical pain. So, with that in mind, how do you like kind of like cognitively like validate those feelings? Like I have I have like the overall answer that I would give to, like in like a clinical setting, but this is a bit different. Like how would you guys, or how have you guys maybe kind of like navigated that mental space?
Right.
I do
I
have an
come to
example,
accept
but
that.
I'll,
guess
I'll let you guys
acknowledgement.
speak. Yeah.
Acknowledgement is maybe an important thing. Just like, I guess, acknowledge that you maybe are feeling a bit jealous
Oh,
on other people's work.
Very good start.
Because yeah, you don't
That's
control what you feel, but indeed how you are controlling with how to deal with it. So I guess acknowledgement is a very important one. Then
Yeah.
I guess it's just experience maybe. Experience you won't be able to deal with it at the first try and then just perfectly. Most likely it will take a little bit of time to like, I guess, try and deal with these feelings that may be recurring, because the more you do things, the more you feel. So I guess a matter of time is maybe very important.
Right. And actually, taking from what Tekman and Layla said in chat, you kind of have to accept that you're jealous. Like,
Mhm.
Yeah, of
like
course.
you just said,
Yeah,
you
acknowledgement,
have to
right?
accept that you're jealous, and then you redirect that feeling into, like, who said it? Layla said something positive. Like,
Yeah.
you just accept you're jealous about someone else's success, and then take a breath and analyze, why am I jealous of their success? Is it because they're getting the numbers? Is it because their sound is what I want my sound to be, and my sound is not quite that sound yet, and so I have to work on it? So what element of their success makes you feel jealous? Because success means different stuff for different people. So in my case, it could be making the music I like, making a living out of it. For some other person, it could be the numbers. So um, you have to know which elements of their success you're jealous of, so you can know how to approach it and turn those feelings of jealousy into something positive. So you,
Yeah.
yeah, kind of like, I don't remember who said it, but it's like getting better out of spite instead of getting better.
I've probably
Well,
said
yeah,
that.
better.
I've probably said that before.
Getting better out of spite. So yeah. And one of the things you said about the competition thingy is, there's a lot of competition, and I don't know. This is not a hot take, because I know a lot of us think about it. But if we say it out loud, the VTuber scene is gonna cook us alive. But
Do it
I
here.
think,
How many VTubers watch me?
yeah, right.
You're,
So
it's
Safe
fine.
space.
I think is that the scene is not saturated. People say, "Oh no, the VTuber scene is saturated." No, it's not saturated. It's just that you're doing the same thing everyone else is doing, and you're not putting any personality into it. So you're just part
I
of the
just saw
mob.
this take like yesterday.
The thing is, if you say it, apparently people don't like it because
Because it's real.
Because
They
they
don't.
are doing it.
it's real. Yeah, people justify it as, well, I want to get the numbers, so I have to ride the train.
Yeah, like
Back then it
following the
was the
trends
king
too much.
and the queen train. Way back then it was the Usewa train. Now it's the idol train. So everybody jumps into it, and when you tell them, well, maybe you're not popping up because you're doing the same as everyone else, and they just get really defensive because, well, it's the truth. Maybe you could put some more personality into it
Yeah,
and make it more
Yeah.
personal,
the personality is
so
definitely
it doesn't
important.
feel, yeah, so it doesn't feel like a competition. It feels more like you're adding value to the pool of content. Instead of you're just adding more and
Contribution.
more. Yeah, you're contributing, and uh, yeah, you're contributing to the general content pool.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
VTubing is a class.
Oh,
classic example of like mistaking the median with the tropes, right? So
Hmm.
right.
there's a lot of VTuber tropes that interest that uh that the tropes are the same with the median. They are one thing, you know. And
Right.
what you have to do to give it personality is take the median, take out the tropes, because
Right.
as most VTubers go, they become VTubers and so on, and they pick up all the tropes and move on with it. Like I'm really like original and so on. But they all it takes is just them reflecting. Oh, I'm a VTuber and that's the medium, but my content doesn't need to follow all the tropes that are already established and so on. Sometimes it's the same with anime. A
Yeah.
lot of
Yeah.
anime take the same tropes over and over and over again,
Calling out
thinking that
isekai here.
yeah, 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 thinking that
True.
oh, it gotta be like this because it's anime, and like no, it's just a medium. You can
Yeah.
tell different stories
Mm-hmm.
using anime and so on, and you have to look outside of the medium of the tropes
Mm-hmm.
to really
Yeah.
bring in the originality, right? So you take
Yeah,
inspiration from other places and so on. But
that can be
getting back,
indeed
mhm.
quite
Getting
anxious, I guess, to do.
yeah, getting back to to the competition subject, it's like I I definitely felt the jealousy of like mostly younger, because you won't get jealous of someone who's like 10 years ahead of you, right? But
Right.
if it's someone who's younger and they got the numbers earlier than you, then it's like, bro, where did I fail? But
Like
Yeah.
that 14 years old
Yeah, that's
anime.
very
yeah,
dangerous to compare to like younger people.
I
Like,
I will give
yeah,
I will give a really good example, right? So like I said, I'm older and I started producing music when I was 20. Like actually got FL Studio, right?
oh,
The years after that, like 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017, I was still in school. And I was focused on my school. I know Avi, you were saying earlier that you're not you're doing this like for the long term, which I don't, which I think is still like not a bad thing because that's just how the world is. It's it's a cut our
Yeah.
losses. But I was like channeling what I was interested in, which was mental health. It was like the one subject I knew I really liked, and making a career path out of it. So all music at that point was a hobby. And then I started seeing, start taking it a little bit more seriously. But 2020, I started thinking like I can really make stuff for people that I really care about. And then like those people like believed in me. It was like, Ark, you got a real passion for this. Like you can really hone this. And that's what happened. But it was really easy for me, being on the older side, even within the community, to see somebody who was so much better than me. But then, like, this is no secret. We had Color Geist on here. He does a lot of BGMs, in, and he's been doing this for at least 50% longer than me. So of course he knows what he's doing. He's had more exposure than me. He's had like a lot more in the indie scene, like tons of work for huge indie clients and stuff. Look at someone like Daryl has been doing it for a while. Tofi's been doing this for fucking ever, which I didn't know until like relatively recently. It's sort of like, these people were like really kicking off their career when I was like figuring out how to put notes in the piano roll. So, like there's the time aspect, not necessarily the age aspect, and then you have to look at like what is this person willing to sacrifice. And this is where stuff gets scary, right?
true,
This is where stuff gets scary, right, guys? Because those people who are like, they're cracked out of their mind and they're like not even in college or like out of college or anything yet, right?
true.
But it's like, but what are you sacrificing? I know so many people who literally like, they throw their studies to the wayside, or like, like I've seen like artists like that are like, I'm like barely passing, or like VTubers who drop out of college to do VTubing. I've seen that more than once, and you know, like they're decently sized, and it's sort of like, you know, like that's cool. Is that forever? I don't know. That's not really up to me to decide. You know, everyone is going to have their own opinion about it.
True.
Right. Yeah.
So like a lot of times. So yeah, I do have a full-time work right now. I don't have that much time. I did wonder, oh, what if I just dropped out and gave 100% focus on music? But at the same time, it wouldn't be tomorrow that I would be successful, make money, and it's gonna take a while. And what happens a lot is that a lot of people who drop out get into a little desperate territory. So they are the ones usually crazy for cloud that goes on cloud parties in Los Angeles.
Because that's how they measure their success.
Yeah.
Which numbers I like. It's such a scary measure of success, because it's like, how much of this is like a thing. So I'll give you an example. Have you guys seen AI Sponge? The AI generated SpongeBob. It is it is like a train wreck. I couldn't stop watching it because
Oh my god. Yeah.
like it was funny at first.
There's like
and
a
then
live stream for that.
Yeah, it's probably on right now. It probably has like 1,000 to 2,000 views, and it's sort of like, you think about that. Like, this guy like got really popular, and it's computer generated.
Yeah.
Like, that feels awful to think about, but you have to realize like how, like, this was like, you know, that's like another proof. Like, you can look at it like, oh, nothing I do matters, but sort of like, well, shit, man. If people are gonna watch this over like a human interaction, then like, you know, why do I give a fuck? That's what it boils down to.
Yeah, I think there's a different kind of comparison to be made here, because, at least in my eyes, the reason people watch AI Sponge to the reason people would listen to our music, in my opinion, is people watch AI Sponge to watch a computer and watch AI get wacky. But in our case, people listen to our music because it speaks to them personally. So that's why I'm not really scared of AI generated music, because in the end, people listen to music because they want to feel something, and that's something AI is never gonna give them. So people listen to, well, they watch AI Sponge and they listen to AI music and stuff like that. From what I've seen, to see what kind of stuff can a computer make, but they don't really listen to it for the joy of listening to it and getting something out of it. They just listen to it kind of like morbid curiosity. I don't know if it's the same with AI art, because
It could change,
AI visual
perhaps.
art. Yeah, it could change. The thing about visual art is that it's gotten so similar to the real thing, that people, it's kind of like an uncanny valley kind of thing, because the art looks great, but the second you realize that a human didn't make it, you kind of feel weird, like a pit in your stomach. It's
True.
like, wait,
That's you described it to a T, dude. Yeah.
yeah. So that's what
Yeah.
I think. The only place where AI art could really take people's jobs is where art and music and all that is kind of defined as a commodity rather than an expression of human nature. So corporative art, corporate music, all of that. I think maybe AI stuff can jeopardize that kind of field.
I
But in case
feel
of
that
human music, I think we're not really in danger, because people listen to us because we're human, and, well, at least from where I see it, that's why I'm not really scared of AI coming for our music.
yeah, I don't think all people really look at art or listen to music because of the feeling behind it. And I think once the AI models get trained even more than they are now, then perhaps I think it is definitely not evitable that it could take over some parts. I I guess that's also. Oh, and Mev is going to leave. All right.
Right.
All right.
Yeah, it's probably very late for him.
Oh, that's right.
Absolutely, I guess.
Yeah, no,
it's
that-
now
yeah,
11
that-
p.m. for me.
Oh yeah, it's like not even 5 p.m. here. Yeah, that's fine. No,
Oh.
thanks, Mev, for being here.
Thanks you. Yes, absolutely. Ooh.
So, I wanted to address what Layla and Tekman are saying with the BGM. Are people creating out half-baked trailer tracks and probably the ones that impacted the most? And so I think here's what I think, and this is, I think Marble and I've talked about this a little bit. For the most part, VTubers don't value the music producers as much as artists, is how I feel. For the most, that's like the general. I don't think that's always true, of course. That's the general consensus. Like, people are always like, V Shoujo is always going to Daryl to make like amazing background orchestral tracks. If you want a piece that makes you sad and it has a piano, you go to Diego. If you want funny Animal Crossing bass line, you go to me. Stuff like that. So, I think that's just like a weird culture thing that I don't fully grasp. Like, I don't like. I feel like whoever commissions me clearly values it a lot, and like, I don't think there's ever been a commission I've turned down. Like, people that are like, 12 followers on Twitter, they come to me. I'm like, shit, man, it came to me. Sure, what you want? And it's like, it's more. And here, I'm gonna get to another topic that I'm a little cautious about, which is the money aspect, right?
Right.
So getting into commission. So like, I don't remember who it was that said this, but it was like I think it was a bigger producer, like a bigger artist, and they had said like, I don't take commissions because I think putting money in removes like the artistic value from it. And that just like made me feel sick to my, like, that just like made me feel like guilty and like sick to my stomach.
I don't agree with that.
I don't agree with it either, because like, yo, we gotta eat.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, if you, okay, here's the thing:
It's
if
a
you're
profession, right?
if you're that big to make that statement, and especially if you're an artist, then you are sitting on the highest possible throne of artist privilege.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
True.
So like,
I
could I make this free? I could, but like, I think it's respectful to our own craft to like charge a fair price for it. Like, if we if you need that extra spending money, if you need like, because people will respect it more. If you're like, my music's free, and you're free, then you're like monopolizing it, but to what end? Like, you're not gonna have time on your hands anymore. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It has
exactly.
to do a lot with yeah. You go first.
Yeah, you need to earn money to continue, to maybe even develop yourself further with like new things to try out and stuff. But to say like that, you shouldn't take commissions, that it doesn't really make any sense to me, honestly.
No.
Why you would say that? Like, okay, but how are you earning money then? Okay, maybe so from different like parts, I guess. I don't know, maybe like a label or something, or but not everyone has that privilege. And to just say that you shouldn't take commissions because they throw it artistic aspect, that honestly that honestly sounds like a them problem. If putting money into it just immediately takes away artistic value, then I guess there is something wrong with how you take your own artistic value in consideration. Or
Yeah,
something.
even if I remembered who's like where I saw that from, I wouldn't like say who it was, obviously. But I was just sort of like how, like, what are you supposed to say to that? Like,
Exactly.
Like, bro, so I think they are mistaking doing just for the numbers, and not really like not really putting your heart into it, versus doing a commission that you have indeed put your heart into it. So So they're like, so that they're thinking doing commissions is comparable to doing like generic, absolutely generic tracks that you don't have don't have any like any affection with, just so maybe these tracks get successful and gets a lot of like gets people attention and so on, but you don't really care whatever is put that. I don't think that's the case with commissions. Like, yes, person is paying you, but you're putting your heart into it. You're
Yeah,
giving it care.
exactly.
That's a
Like,
very
yeah.
that's a very big difference.
Mm-hmm. Of course, you can take like saying, okay, so I need to make something in this style and with this like idea in it, and it suddenly isn't something that I like. Of course, that's like the first thing that you think of even when you are starting, I guess, taking commissions, because now suddenly it's something that you need to like stick to. But there's still freedom in expressing your own things and your own ideas into that
Right.
um, commission or into that request. So there's always still like space for freedom and artistic freedom to just express yourself. So definitely it's not like commissions take like something that you don't really fully support anymore, but just like allow yourself to play around with the idea and making something good out of it.
The person,
In the end,
it's not just because like, you know, that other person or producer, whoever said that. I think it's also because of you know, there's like people who could use that against us, like when, like, oh, you should just give this to me for free because wouldn't this take like the artistic value? Now, if you do that, you're a big old chump. So, but anyway, that could happen.
You get to have a nice spot on r/choosing beggars if you do that.
Oh my god! Oh no!
For exposure.
Not the Reddit. Oh, do it for exposure.
Exposure, yay!
Play 2 hours.
Exposure is a nice.
Yeah,
I can buy a lot of bread with it.
Like 4 hours in our restaurant for exposure. Oh no, we give you a drink. Don't worry. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Let me
think
check here.
commissions, going back to what he said, it all goes back to the culture. Dangeon and I always have this talk about the culture of everything revolving around money, and the thing is, sadly, we have to earn something, and we have to eat, and we have to have a place to live.
Yep.
So it's kind of weird that this person said that putting money in the music thing,
Yeah.
immediately
You can't
takes
really
you
cut out the money aspect.
right. I believe that if you told this person that, okay, so let's assume what you said is true. Rage Against the Machine sold their records. Why does that immediately take away from the message that they had to say? Because their message is extremely anti-establishment, anti-capitalism, but still they need to get money to live. So
That is not the world we live in.
yeah, we don't live in a world where we don't need money. So
We live in a
we still need the
materialistic
money.
world, so
Yeah.
we need to
Yeah.
like deal with it.
True.
Yeah, we
If they-
still need the money, sadly.
Yeah. They always trust that they always throw the shit at us. Like, oh, you're leftist, but you want a place to want a good place to live. You're leftist, but you use an iPhone. It's always the iPhone, by the way.
It's always the. Oh man,
No,
there
sure,
is
we
no
can-
ethical consumption under capitalism. We all know this.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. If it, that's
that's-
that's a second thought title, video title. Have you seen this channel?
Oh, that's
No.
not even a title. That's just like a thing. But like if that's the route you go down, like that's just like if that's your argument route, that's like another one that you can use to counteract. But
but yeah, it's just like you gotta eat, and if you take all the money from the art, it's gonna be kind of detrimental because you
Yeah.
give no possibility for us to live doing the our art. You take all this possibility and you're
Oh,
condemning
thank you.
us to
I'm
either
out of water.
Ooh, hydration time.
you're condemning us to either like keep working in our full-time jobs for the rest of life and
Mm.
trying to do music and never even have the possibility of doing music for life. It's either that or it's like someone who says that is either happy with the with full-time job and doing music, or they don't even work. They living off of someone.
I think there's a problem here also where, well, at least the Western society, we have idealized the suffering musician, the struggling musician.
Oh my god,
yeah,
The only
yeah.
merit to create art is the musician or the artist that is struggling. If you have money, then what you create is not art. So you have to struggle to create art.
That could be maybe real indeed.
Yeah, yeah.
Where did
Thank
that even
God.
come from, honestly?
I don't know. I don't know, and I believe there's a YouTube documentary that explains it, but right now I probably won't find it. But I assure you, there's someone who has probably
Some historian out
Ro-
there.
right. Yeah.
Yo.
Layla says I'm not even allowed to make money out of my music due to my visa and my work's policies. That's fucked.
That
Oh.
that is messed up.
That
Damn.
is, oh, that is kind of
Man,
that is iffy.
Yeah.
Hope that gets sorted out quickly. Or then
Yeah. There's so
anything you do.
much.
we could go on forever, guys. I got
Eh?
I'm gonna. That's what's so cool. That's why I wanted you all here, because I was like, we could pop off. That's why I'm excited.
We could, yeah, exactly.
But the last thing I had, I think,
Yeah.
and we were like starting to touch on it, and then we can like open it up a little bit for like 30 some minutes, because then I want to go start prepping my dinner. I'm gonna make a.
Right.
I'm just gonna make a big old smoothie. Which is, what are you personally changing in your own mindset right now? Like before this stream idea even happened. Like what? Like how are you personally growing, and like how do you? Because a lot of this was like how like to
Right.
change like other people's mindsets.
That
so-
is always a difficult question.
That's Where do you who do you think I
It's
am?
nice to give advice,
Yeah.
but to use your own advice is always like level 2,
So
100.
I already said mine. It's basically like accepting like you cannot be a part of every project. There's some projects
Yeah.
I am incredibly envious and or jealous of that I was like, man, I wish I could have got that. But the more I looked, the more I'm like, oh, this was an inside thing. Like this was like a friend thing. Like that's not me. Or
Right.
oh, this like wasn't really my genre. You know what I'm saying? You know, and that like kind of helped. And it's sort of like, you know, looking at a big picture. I think it also helps to like bite off what you can chew, but also like be willing to challenge yourself and be honest with like people who are asking you stuff. Like, you know, last night being asked like, do you do vocal mixing? And I was like, I mean, technically, but I've never done only vocal mixing. So I showed them like what my portfolio was, and they said, sounds good to me. So I think that's like just like being open to experiences, and just like, you know, the more you do, the more good things will come, and like kind of trusting your gut. Like some of
Yeah.
my best projects, like, you know, both view wise and how they were perceived, where I was sort of like, I wasn't even at 100%.
Oh.
But like I look at them and I was sort of like, I cannot afford to agonize over this. Like Epsilon was saying, like just release it. And when you do, and everyone's like, this is the
Yeah,
best
some-
thing ever.
At some point you have to.
Mhm.
Else you get stuck with like 20 on your work in progress, like me. It's honestly horrible. But that's like usually why the profession of like mixing and mastering is like put to someone else instead of the producer themselves.
Yep.
Just
Yeah.
so you don't get stuck in like little details. Because if another person looks at it and says, yeah, it is good now, you don't need to do any more things about it. It's good enough. That's yeah, that's hard to like tell yourself, but definitely something that um, could improve productivity as well as scheduling, which I forgot to
Hmm.
say, which I
Right.
want to honestly focus on scheduling because that is the sole reason why I have been behind on many things.
Get us all a manager.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think my problem until the time it's a little while ago is that I would like wait for the like keep waiting for opportunities and keep like waiting for uh like some work like some situation where the world what was worth it to release music.
Mm.
So what I mean by that is that I I would do these nice tracks and so on. I would there's like there's probably 100 of them storage and not seeing the day of light. There's a lot of stuff that like friends and you guys haven't heard that I made. No one that has heard other than me. That happens a lot, and I would keep it like, oh, I should keep this track like unreleased. So in the right moment, or when I get a label contract or so on, then I will release it. But turns out that you don't really get like a label contract or like some big position nowadays without without really just releasing.
Yep.
You gotta release this shit first, and you gotta show yourself what you're capable of doing. Some of my friends would say, "Oh, if you make amazing things, but no one is has even the chance of accessing these things, like, oh, are you afraid that if you upload something, people won't listen? Yeah, what about not
Right.
even uploading? What the fuck are you doing? At least
Yeah.
upload it. At least
Hmm.
give the people the chance to accessing it. And a lot of times I wouldn't upload it, and waiting for, oh, I must upload when I have the or when I have situation when people will listen. I really want people to listen, so wait. But like you just gotta release, and people will eventually listen and so on. There's no point in storaging hundreds of tracks, which is currently my case, and just
Same.
keeping them there, and no one listens to it. Keep waiting for, oh no, when I'm big, I will release that track. But bro, releasing the tracks is how you get big.
Yeah.
What logic's that? But it's not. But it wasn't really logical. It was kind of. It was kind of sentimental. It was me going like, oh, people are gonna listen to me right now. I'm not big. I must get there. So, but what I have in my hands is like too valuable to just post, and people not listen, and it remained a 10 view YouTube video. So I'm trying to pass over that. So I just like bought some like CD baby release stuff. So I released an EP and have another EP, which, by the way, I was is in a track. and we haven't made much progress, but it's supposed to to have to be a collab between me and I.
Pause champ.
Yeah, and yeah. I guess that's it for like one of my mental problems and so on.
He's just putting it out
So,
there.
but yeah, music and yeah, being like more carefree about releasing. Just release.
Mm.
It's okay. You market
Yeah.
afterwards. Eventually, it's gonna hit the 1 million view mark. It's okay. Another thing is that, well, it's not musically related, but I have problem with trust, and I may have
Hmm.
ADHD, but that's another thing.
That
That's
kind of
another thing.
mental health magic. Okay.
Thank you for the stream. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, thanks for coming, Lila. Yeah, we probably won't go too much longer, and the rest of the VOD I'm gonna put on YouTube tomorrow or Tuesday.
Great.
Let's go.
See
Woohoo!
you.
Um, did anyone else have anything to comment on that topic, or anything that like maybe you wanted to ask? Like we got probably time for one more little topic, and then I'm gonna ask everyone to plug themselves. That's
Yeah,
We
I
got
think
over a lot of things.
we did.
the last prompt. What
Oh.
would you change about yourself and
Yeah, like
what
what
are
are you in the
you
process of
working in?
changing? Yeah.
Yeah, I wrote down three things. The
Okay.
first one is, well, they sound pretty different, but they're kind of like connected. Sorry. First, well, be receptive to change because, well, your interests and the culture and the things that influence you are going to change. So you have to be receptive to change, accept that new stuff is coming, and well, you're gonna have to change with the world because if you don't change with the world is gonna leave you behind. So just accept that everything is changing. And I don't remember who. I think it was I don't remember his name, but he he's like I don't want to say motivational. It's kind of like philosopher. Alan Watts, I think, was his name.
Hmm.
He said something along the lines of everything is change and nothing can be held onto. So
Okay.
just accept that everything is changing and nothing is gonna last forever. So just going back to the music thing because it has sort of a connection with the music thing. Um, Accept that maybe your audience is not gonna be there forever. So you just upload what you want. Don't stick to one thing just because you think you have to stick to one thing. If you don't upload anything because you're afraid that your audience is gonna leave, then you're gonna, well, be stuck there not uploading anything. And if you do upload it and they don't like it and then leave, then that's okay because maybe they were gonna leave eventually. So yeah, just accept that your audience comes and goes, and that shouldn't be that shouldn't affect what you upload. You don't have to stick to one thing only. You don't have to stick to anime. You don't have to stick to one genre only. So do what you think is best. Upload what you want. If your audience leaves, then so be it. But upload what you want, create what you want, and most importantly for me is don't take yourself too seriously because when you take yourself too seriously, then you kind of hit a creative block.
It's not
In
even
my
fun
opinion, you hit a
anymore.
creative block. It's not even fun. Yeah, you kind of treat yourself like you have to be a certain way and you have to do certain things. So you don't enjoy it anymore, and you don't
Yeah.
even upload anymore because you're too afraid of people not being accepting of the new thing you have, which is different from what they expect. So, yeah, in the end, accept that people come and go, your audience will come and go, and yeah, don't take yourself too seriously if you want to enjoy making music.
I
So,
think
yeah,
that's the best way
Yeah.
to That kind of sums up a lot of what we talked about, huh, Eve? Hi, guys.
Honestly, we talked about a lot of things. This
A lot,
covers
a
a lot
lot.
of those things.
Yeah, to sum it
Yeah.
up, it's kind of like what you said, the the boss meme. Nothing matters, and that's okay.
Yeah, exactly. It always comes back to the first topic.
Which is kind of like the point, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
it's kind of
Yeah.
weird, and it's kind of sad how people misrepresent nihilism. Like,
Yeah.
it's an ideology of people not wanting to live when that's not really the case. You just accept that life doesn't have a meaning in and
No,
of itself. You give
exactly.
life a meaning. You
nothing
give-
matters, Smile!
Nothing really matters.
Yeah.
Now it sounds to most like a very cynical, or maybe like, if you get very crude with it, a very suicidal way of thinking about life. But there is more to it, indeed.
Yeah.
Like, saying nothing matters doesn't mean that you don't need to do anything. It means that you can do anything.
Right. Right.
Because you can
Yeah,
enjoy
nothing
it.
matters. It's
You can enjoy without much consequences, of course, within the law, but that's the whole thing.
Yeah. As for what Techman said, like, what if you're not happy with the music when we were
yeah.
just releasing it? Do not. I don't really have that much with like new releases, because usually I get to a point where I personally compromise between like, okay, this could be better, but sort of like, this is as good as it's gonna get, like, without me like scrutinizing it like relentlessly. So like once I get to that point, it's like it's fine even if I scrutinize it later, because like Epsi said, like, 2 months later you're gonna cringe anyway because you're better. But I think, like, for example, if I do a comm and I'm kind of feeling like kind of iffy about it, but the client's like, this is great, you're so great to work with, it doesn't matter how I feel anymore because they like it.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, I guess that question sums up why I personally find it hard to like just release and just stop thinking about the little things, because there's always that thought about, yeah, but I could do better. I could maybe add and play around with this instrument or something. I could play around with like maybe more highs or a better mix or something. Even though I already like my outcome currently, it could be better for like the final release, and that is mostly why I get stuck with like most of my releases, because there's always that thing of like, I can do better. I know I can do better, but at some point, yeah, you can do better, but time will flow and time will always take, and yeah, sometimes the things that you can do better are better destined for a new project instead of this one.
Mm-hmm.
But
Exactly.
it's definitely, yeah, hard to apply the advice of just releasing things. It takes some training as well, I guess, some experience of like being content with what you currently have ready.
I think
Yeah.
one of the things you could do, and that's kind of like what I do when I don't like something I'm making, kind of like testing the waters. I publish kind of like a small clip to my Twitter and see the reception, and see that people don't really care about the small details I'm seeing. And I'm like, well, if it's good enough for them, it's good enough for me, and just
That's
fuck
a
it,
good
I'm
one to
gonna
do,
it.
actually. Yeah, maybe I'll try that more as well. Because I usually do that with like a work in progress sometimes, and always usually get like a nice, like, how you call it, people usually like to some extent, but then you have the question of like, is this because they know that it's a work in progress, or is this because they already think it's good? Then you like still have that spiral of like, I can do more things, and get stuck again.
Like I would say most normal people aren't like music critics. And
Yeah, exactly.
know
Yeah.
a lot about it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's probably the latter. They will hear a whip and go, "Yo, that's already fire. Release."
Yeah. And actually, I've noticed that going back to listen to some of the stuff I used to listen to back when I was in high school, I listened to it, Breaking Benjamin and 3 days grace, and I listen to the mixing, and it's well, pretty mid. I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty mid, but it sounds good.
Oh, that has happened as well.
I think that's the thing,
And
though.
it's
Like,
kind of amazing, honestly.
Yeah.
you also have to remember, like, well, first of all, like, in their defense, it's like a product of the time. Like, you know, because they didn't have the same tools that we do, like, back in, like, the mid-2000s. But in our defense, like, that would help us. The average person, like, you know, like, the average person, unless your mix is, like, really bad, like egregiously bad, like, the average person isn't gonna be like, yeah, the mids are a little, too soft.
Yeah.
Like the average,
Most- yeah.
no
Most
one,
people are
yeah.
just like fine with you like doing the isotope ozone like machine learning thing and releasing it. For most people, that is exactly what they want.
For most people, will only get started by sending snare, you know.
Yeah, some
Yeah.
people just want a smiley in their equalizer, and that's what they.
A smiley.
Yeah.
A smiley.
Yes.
Wait, that's
Exactly.
yeah. So I always say when I EQ things, like especially snares, I'm like, oh yeah, you gotta make him look like boobs because you have
Oh.
you have the hump, you have the hump
Wow.
in the low and the hump in the very high part when you make a snare, and cut out the mid. That's how I EQ my snares. It works.
Humans see patterns in everything.
Yeah, it works. And for mixing, we all have the mixing critics and all that. And for song structure, I've also come to accept that back in the pandemic, there was this music YouTuber that had like a 200K subscriber special. It was a contest where you could send a song and you could participate to win. I think it was a guitar. I don't know what it was. But one of the things that he criticizes a lot in the music that got sent was that it had no, how do I put it, conventional structures. So I kind of gaslit myself back then into thinking that my music was not good enough because it didn't follow a conventional structure. But the thing is, I love math rock and I love post rock, and I know people.
Isn't that
love
the
it,
point that like
so-
it's not conventional?
yeah, yeah. So
That's-
I kind of hate like a cognitive dissonance kind of thing that I need to make music with this kind of conventional song structure, but at the same time, I love music that doesn't have one. So it was kind of gaslighting myself into making music that I'm not happy with. So yeah, don't listen a lot to other like Techman said. Don't listen to music critics a lot because music critics
Yeah.
are well,
Supposed to be, they're
Essentially,
hypercritical.
they're hypercritical.
Yeah.
You also should, as the general public.
Essentially, the thing
he's
that's-
saying, yeah,
Maybe even
Yeah.
most important is that you are happy with what you make.
Yeah,
yeah,
music
For
critics
your
are
experience,
like
that is mostly like what you need.
yeah.
most music critics are like the opposite of creativity. I feel like it's not a quality that they have for real, but still like unconventional song structures, bro. These these song structures, they're like conventions. They didn't they aren't like set rules that will still be in place 200 years from now. Like there's no purpose in getting absolutely attached to it. So I love experimental shit. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I agree.
Experiment. Love yourself. You should love
Yeah.
yourself now. Love your music now. I think that's.
Nah,
I think, and it's like if you're trying to get something else out of it, then like you got to question what you're really doing it for at the end of the day.
Yeah.
true.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, here's what I'm gonna say, guys. I'm gonna call it here because we've been talking for almost
Right.
3.5 hours,
Yes.
which is
Yeah, dude.
insane. I love it.
Starting to get a little tired, but it was very fun to do.
Yeah, maybe we'll have a part 2 sometime if you guys
Ooh,
come up with a topic.
exciting.
Yeah, like I'm down for
True.
it. I'm always down
A
for
lot
it.
of topics.
Same.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go backwards. I'm gonna have Azu say any closing thoughts, and then we'll go Dangeon, Eive, myself, and that's it.
All right.
All right. Yeah, what to say honestly. I hoped you'd like the stream. I was happy to be here, really. It's quite nice to like talk about these more mental and deep things about making things, about maybe even living in general. It gives a lot of like, I guess, positivity in the outcome because you have new things and you know that you have talked and maybe even like said what you wanted, but no place to say or to say somewhere. So I'm definitely happy that I participated. And if you're making a part two, I'll I'll definitely be there. So
Let's
I guess
go.
You'll
I
love
guess
to
that's
do
all
it.
for me.
Can we find you on your name on your screen? Is that the your tag
Oh.
on Twitter and
That's
YouTube?
actually a very good thing because that's you can only find me on Twitter with that tag actually. Um, if you want to find me on YouTube, you type in Azuraga underscore melody, and then you get to my YouTube account.
Melody?
Melody, yes.
Let's go!
Let's go.
Oh, man, it was fun to
And
play.
that's all.
There you go. There's you. Then Dangeon, anything else you want to say?
To close things. Yeah. So this was very insightful, very interesting, and it does affirm all these feelings, worries that we musicians have, and then it does put a perspective of how similar we kind of are, because we may see our similarities in the qualities and forget about the similarities of struggle, of of yeah, of the bad parts, and so yeah.
We did it. I posted. Whoa! Oh no! Fairy
Oh,
Geo,
no.
thank you for
Oh,
rating.
no,
Oh,
no,
okay, we have to
no.
continue.
we are
no.
we are literally shouting everybody out right now.
We are so
Welcome,
fucking bad.
everybody.
I am so sorry, but I appreciate your
Oh
rating.
my god.
But it's okay because we are actually gonna put this VOD on YouTube tomorrow. So this is wonderful. Welcome
Yeah.
everyone.
Nice.
Here talking about imposter syndrome and about not feeling like we're enough in music, then yeah, go listen to the VOD.
If you want some supportive comments, watch the VOD.
So we
This
can.
is so crazy.
So we're having our fellas. Mev here had to leave, but I appreciate everyone being here. Real quick, I'm gonna do my shout out since we had a raid. I'm Ark by day, mental health clinician by night, streamer, musician, always a purple magician. We do mental health talks here, music production streams, and I'm probably gonna play the shit out of Diablo 4 since I'm addicted, and Shiny Cardboard. And today,
Let's go.
this was the biggest mental health magic stream we've had. I've never had more than I think 2 people on. We had 5 today, so
damn.
yeah, that's why I was like, this is gonna be so cool. I can't wait. Yeah, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Hope you have a good rest after your stream. Eve,
Nice timing.
Eve, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna. My last thoughts about this is just make music for the fun of it, and I'm gonna go back to the first thing I said at the beginning of the stream. Ultimately, make music just to make life a little bit better, even if it's your life, someone else's life. Just make music for the love of it. Don't worry too much about external factors. We all want to make it, and the harsh reality is maybe not everyone is going to make it, but in the end, we all just want to be happy. We want to contribute a bit to the happiness of other people. So if your music makes you happy or makes other people happy, then that's enough. I'm really glad that we could hold this round table together. It was pretty insightful. I think we need to talk more about this kind of stuff, especially in the VTuber scene, especially in the music creation and music producer scene. because there's just so much burnout. There's so much we don't really talk about, and I'm really happy that you hold these kind of streams to talk about it, because we don't really talk about it a lot. So
Yeah,
thank you.
that's
for
my goal.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you guys for being here, because that's the whole point, is because these are conversations that
Let's
I
go.
don't think like a
Let's go.
single Twitter thread can hold. Even though
It
people
could
think
get-
that they can do.
It could get out of hand indeed.
Yeah, it would get. That's the thing. It would get out of hand, and the people would like start, But this, like, we get the
Wars and-
nuance of they would.
Yeah.
But this,
Yeah,
like, there's
nuance is
nuance.
dead in.
Like, there's so much nuance here. Like,
Yeah.
and that's what's so
Yeah, speech
cool
is
about
just-
this.
On a whole new level of like discussing these things.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Right.
Rather get in
So
text. Yeah.
let's see. So actually, because there's so many of us now, I am gonna send us over to somebody to raid. Just to keep the stream train going. I can't leave you off on
Raid
this note.
body.
Do you guys like Angels making Pokemon? Night Fawn. I'm just looking at my friends. Night Fawn is streaming. Is she doing Dredge? She's doing Dredge. I love Night Fawn's voice. We haven't rated her in a while. Let's do her. So do you guys want horror, hand cam, or fishing?
Fishing. Let's go.
Okay, we're going to Fawn, baby. Fawn. If you guys haven't heard Fawn's voice, it is delightful. She has such a cute voice.
Nice.
Okay, so we're gonna send you over to here while I get the raid set up. You can find me. Oh, look at that! MooBot is doing its job. So the ASMR I have not been active on in 2 years. There is a shit. I have a great idea for a shit post, but when I tried to record it, it just the quality was shit because it was on my phone in my car. It wasn't my voice. I was recording the sound of me driving the car. As ASMR, and it didn't work.
So
Yeah,
it sounds very funny.
I had I had the best shit post idea. So if you're looking
Like
for my
the random
content,
diesel motor or something, V8.
yeah, basically it was
Those are the mirror
Very
to the
ASMR.
soul.
it was like Uber driver ASMR roleplay.
No.
It was gonna be so goofy. But yeah, so don't go if you're gonna check out my YouTube. Go to the main channel. Go to the music channel, please. Don't look at my ASMR. We stream. If I'm not dead tomorrow, we'll stream again. But usually, I'm very, very busy with therapy work tomorrow. Other than that, I am trying to get another guest for Mental Health Magic. I had it in the works with him for a while. That should be a complete different change of pace, but I need to DM them when they aren't busy. Other than that, I'm cooking. I'm actually talking to someone about cooking later in this, so I got 2 originals in the works, and I don't know when those are coming out. We'll see.
All right.
And we're just
Let's go.
fish for fawn. I don't know. I'm just making up a raid message with Crab. I haven't raided her in a while.
Fish
Yeah.
for fun.
Fish for fun.
Fish for fawn, yeah. And then after that, I don't know. Everyone pile in here. But if you're new here, yeah, stick around. We do mental health. I'm trying to do it once a month, and you should click on all the links I post in chat for all the fellas because they all make really cool stuff. And we were talking about music competition. I was just thinking, like, all of us have such different genres and I think it's easier. That's another top point I didn't make. It's a lot easier to not look at people competition when we're all like doing completely different
Honestly,
things.
Yeah.
honestly,
That's true.
well, rather see like the links that you put before, or only new messages.
Oh, they were. I put them up. You have to scroll up to find them. Okay, I'm hitting right now. I'll see you guys soon. Peace. And,
Peace.
And stream is over. We did it.